focused soul made the integration. But he found love in an ice-cold nation, singing songs and dreaming of our own, calling on leaders to heed my call. It's time to stand together, my brother. Heed the call. It's time to stand together, shake hands and help a broken stranger.
All right. Good Tuesday evening. I see Lala's in the house, so does that make it Wednesday? She a day ahead of us, I think. I don't know. Clear that up. I had to go back to school. I don't remember. Whatever. She's either a day ahead or a day behind. I feel like maybe she's a day. I don't know. I'm too old to remember. Just. Is it Wednesday or Tuesday over there, Lala? I'm working on it. How you guys doing? It's good to see you. It's been a crazy couple weeks, right? And we are heading into August. Quicker than you can say July's over. I don't even know what to think about that. I'm not in the mood to see fall stuff coming out, so that's kind of a bummer. She did clear this up. Thank you. It is, I'm sorry. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, it's Wednesday, 9 a.m. That's what I thought. So you're always ahead of me. Now I'm going to always feel like I'm just lagging behind you in productivity. So we're going to have to figure that out and get caught up. I see a couple of our good friends are here early, and that's good. Love that they stopped and say hi. Hello, Robert. Saw a really cool video put out. Cool maybe isn't the word. Talking about something that's near and dear to my heart and probably to many creatives, and that was a lovely introspective on anxiety. And if you haven't caught it, I would definitely check it out. It's something I think it speaks to a lot of us. And and somebody I know who's working hard. Oh, it's just saying hi to John, but you know what? I know she means. I know he said something in the middle of it. How you doing, Ash? John's okay. He's a good guy. I'm going to bring him out here in a second and get moving. So I have no idea how my sound sounds tonight because I've been playing around with my GoXLR, and then my Wave XLR showed up. If I didn't need more confusion between GoXLR and Wave XLR, my Wave XLR showed up from Elgato. And, I had to open that box up and check it out because that's what I needed to do today. Not my best decision probably ever, but I have some thoughts on it, and John has thoughts on his, and that's right. This is true. I wanted to catch her before she dipped out, and it's her birthday. I think she turned 21 today, so she's legal in the States, and I know that's not true, but I just wanted to say a very merry birthday to you. Thank you so much for stopping in. We have known each other a short time, but I am so glad to have crossed paths with you, Ash, and I hope you go out and celebrate in the way, in the manner that you want to finish off this day around the sun for you in another year. So thank you for stopping in. 29. Well, you don't look a day over in 21 and a half, so you're good. Go have a good day. I appreciate it. So great to see you as always, and we'll catch up sooner than later. Sorry for being a stranger. We'll fix that here shortly. So, all right, I'm going to bring John on so I can voice some complaints, so I can vent some things about audio, because audio is maybe one of the toughest parts about what we do, whether it's live streaming. Well, I would say specifically for live streaming, it's a little tricky as well for recording, but it's a different animal. So let's bring John in here, get him settled. We'll drop the tune a little bit here and bring in our good friend John so he can fix whatever I broke.
Oh,
there he is. Oh, good. He was picking his nose.
God, you caught me right in that moment.
Isn't that awful when people catch you like that?
So I assume you can hear me.
I can hear you just fine, so it must mean
Great.
You're not on the Wave XLR.
No, I'm on the Wave XLR, my friend. I am on the Wave. Yeah, it's been quite a wave, by the way, just to let you know.
Oh, look what you did there. Look how you did that. You kind of created your own little thing there. It's kind of cool.
I've been body surfing for 2 days on this thing, and the sand gave me sandburn all over my body.
You got it in the cracks everywhere. You got
to wash it out right now.
I have to say, I have opinions on it, even though I only got to play with it for a short period of time.
Yeah.
And I know you have opinions on it. I think this is actually a good night to kind of get into this. Yeah, Ash is saying John's audio seems a little bit low. I'd agree, and I think that's going to be point number one that you're going to make.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I am working this out, but it's been an experience. So let me see what I can see here.
You
can keep going.
Okay. Well, look. First thing I've noticed about it, I felt compressed right out of the gate. I felt like the meters were reading hot. But when I went back to review the output, everything seemed a dice lower than what I was seeing with my eyes and also what I was hearing with my ears.
Well, that's the problem that I have, which you should hear me decent now, is I set it at this gain right here. And when you pulled me into this stream, the software dipped down from 30 decibels of input on my mic to 17.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's fun.
So I have had that happen about 3 or 4 times now, where the input on the device input mic input just changes by itself. So then I went into the software and I changed and put wave gain lock in.
Oh, okay.
So my wave gain lock is in right now, and it changed by itself again.
Ash says it's better. Ash, how's the before you dip out? How's the balance so we don't make people nuts? Because we're both playing around with too much audio lately. So now I'm worried that mine's going to be too low, but we're probably okay based on the numbers I'm seeing.
I mean, we're going to talk about the GoXLR, but are you on the GoXLR right now, or are you on the Wave?
I moved back to the GoXLR. Okay. The reason I was thinking about it, but then it kind of didn't make sense considering I was kind of just going to dip into the GoXLR night for me to be on it, although it would have been ironic. The other issue I had is the Elgato download page would never come up for me when I wanted to get the software this afternoon. And I don't know what's going on. I wasn't the only one, so I don't feel so bad.
Okay. So maybe they're getting overwhelmed because so many people bought product. I don't know.
Well, yeah, they're dealing with the camera and this and other things. So something could have happened.
Right.
Ashley, she's content with the balance. I like that. Content is that's a tough word. It's like, well, I'm content that I don't want to like hit you right now. Yeah.
This is where it looks good in most things.
Yeah. So. I think you sound good. So, yeah, plug and play, gentlemen. Boy, I like this comment. You absolutely bet. Yeah. Let's hit a couple people before I jump over them, because I saw Robert and I did mention him. He had put out a video this week, and I just wanted to circle back. This guy, I don't even know why I bother. And then, of course, Lala was getting her coffee and getting her Wednesday on. So I always appreciate seeing her.
Hi,
And,
Lala.
I think this is probably the person that, well, let's be honest.
I was just talking to her.
Yeah, and I think she's probably the reason that your engine keeps running so smoothly over there for many reasons.
That's why the engine's running bad, because she's down the shore with my son.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. No, she did great, man. She made me this big chicken casserole, and she's like, "This is your lunch and your dinner for the next couple of days and everything." And so
that's nice. How nice is that?
Healthy while she's gone.
Well, that's what I said. That's why everything's running so smoothly over there, is because Danielle's
but just like you, I opened up this package and have been trying to get things ironed out, because I want to be able, like, I want to do a review on it, but I don't want to jump the gun and do the review before I could figure this all out. And like I said from the get-go with Sammy last week, is I can't figure this out in one day yet.
So for anybody that's wondering, this is what we're talking about. The Wave XLR. I got that single. I think John showed this last time too, but I'll get it up here eventually. It's not focused because I'm an idiot.
And just on the desk, this is what it looks like. How small it is.
It's tiny, right?
Yeah. I mean, look, it's right next to the Stream Deck.
Yeah.
And I got it right next to it. And it's like, it's pretty much the same size of a 15-button Stream Deck.
Yeah. I'm in the same boat where I've only played with it for a second. So the last thing I want to do is go in and go, oh, here's my complete thought on it. I do have some initial thoughts, and it was interesting to have those as I was playing around and kind of just going through what I might quickly talk about. I don't want to bore everybody to death with the GoXLR tonight, but I think it's worth taking a look at it as we're heading down this road.
Right.
Immediately I was struck with a couple things that made me appreciate the GoXLR though.
I could feel the same way.
Yep.
But I see the potential in the software too. Sorry, I stepped in.
No, that's fine. I see, that's the thing. I don't have the software. However, I'm already pretty certain the software is going to be pretty good. Speaking of the physical approach to it, I see some pros and cons out of the bat. So maybe what I should do is just run through a Cliff Note version of the GoXLR for some of the people that might be in here that might not know or have seen enough of it to know. I'll just kind of give a brief overview, and then we can I'll give some highlights of what I thought of this, and then not so much some definitives, but some like, this is what I'm feeling, and it'll be interesting to see what happens down the road. So let me get my stuff up here, because let's see, how do I get my stuff together here? I got to do a screen share or whatever, right?
Get your stuff together.
Get my stuff together. Let's see. Actually, I don't need to do it this way. What I'm going to do, first of all, let me just go with I got my GoXLR cam going on here. This is just a little webcam over the top, just so we have a view of it. And again, one of the things that I do like about it is I really like the sliders. Not so much because they're pretty and have the RGB, and that's all great. But one of the things that I do like about that is just quick access to that and individual mutes. And of course, the quick, shutdown buttons are nice, of course. So I've always liked that about this. I never really wanted the large GoXLR Mini. That was never in my purview. I don't have a need for it. I know that people like to play around with the effects buttons and this and that. There's one that has the de-esser built into the software, which wasn't really something I really, really needed. But anyway, so we're on to that. So I just want to give you a shot of that real quick. Let me just walk you through the app real fast for those who may not know it. What the GoXLR is set up with a pretty cool app. I think the app is really strong, and I'm anxious to get into the Wave XLR app. I think there'll be some similarities, of course. So normally we have that issue of audio routing. This actually takes care of that in a lot of ways. And so for those who don't know, what you'll get when you load up the GoXLR is you'll get essentially what Voice Meter does if you've used that. And that is, you'll get immediately new options for audio routing that are tied to your sliders and your software, which is really kind of cool. So, you get some new recording. This is for the broadcast for OBS, but your chat mic is your big killer there. And then on the output, you're going to have something if you want for the game, for chat, for music. for samples and system, which is your overall. Everybody uses these a little bit different, but I use them pretty straight up. I'm going to use my music and my music slider, my chat. It's going to go to my chat slider. The game, you could, if you were obviously gaming, you pump your game through there, and then that way you can but you can, mix up the audio levels in your ears that you wish. And then if you're into Discord, you could dump that into one of these channels as well, and then it gets even more fun. The app allows you to do quite a bit of rigging that way, but simply put, these sliders here. So I'll give you just so you know, on the unit, if you're in the software, which is kind of cool, if I slide down here, you'll see that the app is telling you what you're seeing physically on the board, or vice versa. If I go into the mixer and I'm messing around the chat, you'll see that I get a corresponding look. So that I don't know how useful that is, but it's good to have that. These are not like the regular GoXLR, where you do have the sliding. I don't know. Some people are really into the sliding faders and all that. That's not something that I needed, or I wasn't going to spend another $200 plus for that or for sound effects. But some people like that. That's fine. So real quick, the mic, the software is pretty reasonable. The mic has your gain, obviously has a phantom for dynamic, etc. And you got pretty good overhead. I probably messed that up a little bit. I normally don't throw gate on, but I was messing around with a little bit of gate today just to see on this condenser mic how it played. It's getting better. I'm figuring it out. That's a user thing. That's also a mic placement thing with the condenser mic. What I realized a lot of my problem was I needed to move it below my voice, angle it, keep that breath out of that, whether I'm breathing in or out. That really can mess this kind of effect up. The EQ is kind of nice. You can fine tune it if you want, or you can just go to the bass, mid, treble. I went through and fine tuned, and then you can slide along if you have a specific frequency you want to dabble into, obviously. So that's nice. The compressor, again, is another one I don't like to get aggressive with. I find that it kind of taints your voice. I do have some minor 1/4 to 1, which is very low, but it does have an effect. I have a little bit of gain for makeup. Trying to just ease of that. I don't want to overdo effects because I really want to figure out where I'm at. So the mixer is really nice. So you can go in the mixer, and even though you only have the 4 sliders, you can assign a bunch of other lines, audio routes to a channel and have that control that as well. Or you can just alt tab out and do things in the software. There's a lot you can do here. I think that the software is pretty solid. The question is, and I know John will say this too, the question is, where are they going with this? The developers have turned over. I don't know really what their plans are for the future. I haven't heard or have been able to find anything on where they're going with this product as competitors come out.
I have.
Oh, you have? Okay.
A little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard when, but I don't have anything. Yeah, we'll talk about that. I'd love to hear that. Let's finish this off. We have a cough button. We have I yell at John button so we don't get in trouble. Lighting. If you're in the RGB, it's whatever. I'm not really. It's fun. It's fun to go in there, and you can go in and.
That's your favorite, probably.
It really is, actually. You're on to me. So, I mean, obviously, you can go in and just change global colors or whatever you want to do. That's fine. It's I don't waste a whole lot of time in here. I'm going to leave it purple. And then routing, which is really nice. So instead of having to go through, our old fun friend into here or into voice meter. Now, voice meter is great, but it can also be a labyrinth, and it's not a lot of fun at times. And you end up chasing yourself in there as well. And here it's not, and in this particular app, and again, the Wave XLR is going to have very similar capabilities, of course. But what I really like about this is to be able to say, well, okay, I'm going to uncheck what I don't want in a particular output. So if I don't want say I don't want the gaming in my headphones or to go out to my broadcast mixed or chat mic, I have all those options. I can mix and minus in there, which is really kind of powerful, actually, if you want to be honest. So, and then of course you can set profiles. You can see what I've been doing. I just keep reusing my pod mic profile because I'm too lazy to create new profiles, which I probably should do. So that's a quick overview I'm not going to go into every single setting, but that gives you some power into that as we start talking about the Wave XLR, which I don't have access to the software yet, but if it's anything, like the mic, the waves, I'm assuming it's like that. John can probably answer that.
Yeah, I could show you a little bit if you
Yeah,
want.
I'd like to see a little shot of that. Hang on, and let me get you back here, or let me get me out of here. Let me dump you back in, bro.
I've been trying to figure out exactly how things want to get set up in here, and I'll give you just like a quick rundown what I'm looking at and a few of the things that keep on changing in this software. So just give me one little sec. I got to switch up and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. And I'll move this over here and you should see me.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. So, so mainly the thing that I'm having like some issues with here is that in here, all of a sudden, this is what will spike, like the gain. I set it, and then you can see right down here is that check off for wave gain lock. And supposedly, if you clip that off, it doesn't let any other application take over on you.
Okay.
But that's not the case totally, because it's happened to me already a couple times. I don't know exactly what is causing it, if it's something, most likely with Windows, but there's along the way here, you pick your sample right in here. Here's your input level. You can switch it right on the fly here. You can add your phantom power here, or you can just add it at the Wave device itself by holding the big dial and pushing down for 2 seconds.
Yep.
And that will turn the phantom power on and off. So any changes that I make over on the dials, you could see I'm moving the dial and the volume output is changing on the headphone jack.
Mm-hmm.
And so that connects and correlates. And then the one thing I really do like in this software is this clip guard seems really effective. Whereas if I get a little loud in this here right now, I could yell, pretty much yelling this close, and it's not going into the red. It's pretty incredible. It works really well. And then you have some high pass filters here and a low cut filter, and you have color changes just like you, where you can go in here, you could pick different colors for all the dials and set it to make it look, kind of pretty or whatever you want. But the other part is what I want to show you is all the dials and everything of picking your stuff, picking here's your mic right here. Here is your browser right there. So I can do an offset where I can lock this or unlock this. And this is for my headphones, and this is going out to the stream. So there's a lot of things in here, right? You can add things. You can add another input here where you can go auxiliary 2, your voice chat, just like you, Jeff, right?
Yeah.
With game, you can have your gaming in there, and the whole thought process of it all is intriguing and pretty awesome, because kind of like with you and the Wave XLR, you have total control separately over all these things, which gives you a lot of power with everything.
Yeah.
But here's the main thing. I still have that issue of, like you, where sometimes I don't want to go and tab into this whole software thing, and I want to just go right over to the right. And I wish I could just okay, I want to bring a fader down.
Yeah.
And while I'm talking, I could physically touch that fader, still be looking at the camera, and make fine-tune adjustments. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's where I had an interesting kind of slap in the face today as I was playing around. I was really glad I had a moment, but I've had so much experience with the GoXLR that I knew right away what I liked and didn't like about the usage of this. And what I'm going to probably find a bit annoying about it, to be honest. First of all, I love the big button. I love how compact this is. I don't like the sounds of the clicking every time I want to swap out. It makes a bit of noise, and then you have to be paying attention to know where you end up. Am I at the stereophone? Am I at stereophone? Am I at the mix of my headphones and output, or the mic? So there's I don't know if this is going to show up, but down here, right here, there's 3 indicators, and you click through by pushing the button. It toggles through.
Yeah.
That's fine, but you have to also have an eye over there. I'm not saying that's the end of the world, no, but that's a little bit more than I have to deal with. I don't have to push the button, toggle it, and play. And then you're making these you hear these clicking noises going on.
Yeah.
And that was like, oh, okay. I mean, these are things I can live with. Let's just keep moving through.
Yeah.
But
I wouldn't say I'm exactly sold on everything, but I do like the control, because when I was doing my test stream, I like that I can right on the fly just adjust my music up and down, and it's going out to the stream. And I could tell it's going out to the stream physically in the software by looking at,
let's see if we
what's
can
going on.
Let's see if we can give a size comparison too, like a little bit here. I mean, it's about half. It's less than half. I mean, I know that's kind of hard to see,
Right?
but I'm gonna give it side by side here a little bit. But it's definitely, it's almost below the faders here on that size. So it's definitely smaller. I think that's pretty cool. It's neat looking. I think if I hadn't had something else ahead of time, it would be like, oh, and I'm excited to try this out. Don't get me wrong. I don't dislike this unit, but I can't lie to you. When my GoXLR like fired up today and everything's working, and I'm like, oh man, and I'm just running through, I'm like, this is pretty nice. The one thing that I did like is, unlike them, if I go to the app here, for me to really balance out, I mean, I can turn things up and down in here, but what really gets me, for example, let's just say the music, for example, sometimes gets really loud. So what I have to do is go in and turn my overall level down, and then turn my mic level. I can do it here. I can't do that physically on the GoXLR. Where the Wave XLR, the mix, that there's a section there where you can mix the levels in your headset with the button. I did like that. I thought that's a nice trade-off.
Yeah, but it seems to take a while to exactly know what. First of all, it's frustrating because all these levels that you look at in the pictures on the software don't equate to any physical number going out to your stream.
No, I ran a test into just OBS. And I've never peaked like that. I was peaking on the red. And even then, when I went back to playback, I knew in my heart this was going to be under. And it was. I'm like, this is not right.
And you brought the whole stream mix in, right? Did you just bring the stream mix in by itself? Because that's what they suggest. They say bring the whole mix in as one. But again, I preferred to do I preferred in OBS to bring in 2 mic auxiliaries. One would be just my mic, so I have control over just the mic. And then I brought the stream mix in, and that way I can control just the stream. So that way it would leave me out of the stream mix where I can control my mic separately.
Okay. I mean, it is something that may be a user error. It's just I noticed, oh man, the meters are not giving me appropriate feedback that I'm used to. Although I would say even with the GoXLR, that can be a little bit elusive. Robert, is the software a free download with purchase of the GoXLR? Yes, it's free.
Yeah.
Yes, is the answer to that. And I like the software. The software's been great. And if you had to mess around with audio routing, my next video, or my first real video after the trailer, I'm dumping tomorrow out. That's actually, it's going to be on the GoXLR because it's time just to kind of give a review after a few months. It's timely with this. So I'm going to look into that. He also says a little compression goes a long way. Mature words have never been spoken. People overdo compression constantly, especially on voice. On snare drums, you can get away with it a little bit. But my goodness, on the voice.
Depending on the mic, I do a 3-to-1.
Yeah, I mean, I could have gone more aggressive, but I really wanted to ease in with this software because I've had some clipping and some weird things happening in the past, and I wanted to just kind of play with it. You can hear right there a little bit of my breath. And then Aaron, how you doing, Aaron? I've got to get back to you, Aaron. So he says, The GoXLR versus the Rodecaster Pro. Nice. Actually, I know you dumped in here late. We are talking about the GoXLR.
Yeah.
And the Wave XLR is a new product by Elgato.
Yeah.
And it's very similar in many ways. I think it's just timely. And this is something I think John and I really like these like talking about these things. And audio routing is an elusive thing for many people. And I think it's one of the biggest sticking points. You would think it'd be cameras, but it's really not. Once you get to a certain point with the camera, it's like, I know how to use a camera to get by. Audio routing can be quite frustrating depending on if you're doing live or you're doing actual recording, or let's just say you're doing multi-track recording. Oh my goodness. So, and I know Robert can attest to that as well. Transitions are on point. I am thinking he means I think he means my transitions with the that stuff, which is funny because I threw them up there last minute. I'm like, I'll never remember where my scenes are. But you know what? It's about fooling people.
Yeah, if you get lost, right? You just keep rolling, and you don't go, hey, lost. I don't know where I am.
I just showed. I was reconciling my bank, and my bank statement just went up. That kind of stuff. And of course, hello, Aaron. It's always great to see you, man. I really appreciate coming in. Let's see. There was another question I saw.
Here's the thing. I was never like overly excited about what the physical thing could do. Okay. No. I was excited because of what the software can do. And then there was an XLR connection to be able to use our own mics. So I could free up some real estate on top of the desk. I mean, this is right. What I got right here to the right now. Yeah. Like I've showed is compared to like having this up here.
But I mean, my mini GoXLR mini is probably a third of that. And you just shot that down by yours by like a fifth.
Right. And then if you got a full XLR, you're getting closer to this. But here's the thing. The Rodecaster Pro, which, I'm a big fan of all around because the software gets better and better. There's more things that could be done with it. It's a full mobile podcast setup. So there's a lot of great things, but the thing is, it doesn't give you full control over your audio still.
Oh,
so you're still like what I'm talking about is like separating our music and having like a lot of control in a stream is better suited for the GoXLR. But
it is. It is. I think this is a step forward. I really think we better be prepared for augmentations such as add-on slider boards and things that people can module into these things. I feel like this is coming.
Well, I want to make sure that people know you and I are going to be doing some testing with that. So I don't want to let the cat out of the bag with everything, but looks like we're going to maybe, if we decide to keep these, that is something that we're going to probably do, which is in some fashion, hook up a MIDI device that will control 4 outputs that we choose to use to have volume controls on the fly physically, right?
We have some ideas.
Yes.
We have some ideas. And I personally, that I'm not giving up on this because the idea that we have in mind, I feel is very tiny and very unobtrusive. And I still feel like it's a big gain on space. And I think when you marry these two up, it has the potential to not only be as good as the GoXLR, but maybe push it out a little bit. It's the thing about the GoXLR that people, people kind of, it's been around a while. I mean, it's an old grandparent sitting on the porch as far as tech aging is but yet no one's come along to really push it off the table. No. I've knocked it off a couple times, but no one's come. I keep looking, the GoXLR killer. Where is that killer at? It's not around, guys.
Well, the main thing is, though, like you mentioned earlier, is that the people who incorporated this software to this, hardware product, they've walked away from the company. There's been issues with being able to get the updates and what's going to happen next. And there's many rumors of the guys who developed all this software of having their own device come out in the next year, and that it's going to really put a damper on what the GoXLR will all be about. Yeah. So I might be a good time to try to find something that is going to overtake it or exit it,
It's not uncommon in companies like that for there be either egos or disagreements, and the original brain trust to go out. I've seen it with music instruments, drum companies go out and split off after. It's not unusual. Live streamer at work. What does that mean? Are you splitting off? Are you leaving me already?
I just want to say that's what we do. We're live streamers. So
that's right.
I've been letting people know everywhere I go. And so when they ask questions, then it leads into the YouTube channel.
And, Robert, I have you up here and he says, seems it would be more of an eyes off controller since it's for streaming. And I don't know if he means the GoXLR or if they both fit that category, I think, right?
Yeah. I mean, he was watching my stream and he saw kind of like how I was frustrated when I was doing the testing with the Wave product. But here's the thing. I don't want to go overboard with, I know there's glitchiness. The thing about Elgato is they'll be really prompt to make some firmware corrections. And I know they've been asking for over a year with the, USB version, but there's going to be some VSTs probably coming, and there should be some things that are going to make things much more effective. Yeah. But still, from a gamer standpoint, especially if you're a 2 PC gamer, you have no way to really effectively use this Wave because you have no line level out.
That's a problem.
That's frustrating.
Yeah. And I have to be honest with you too. The GoXLR, I'll just leave you up. The GoXLR, that's the app. I'll find it. Don't worry. So my headphones are out the front. What I'm a little concerned about is that the jack for the headphones are out the back of this. Now, I understand it isn't the end of times because the jack for the headphones are out the back of this. I'm just saying I do prefer the cord coming straight out as opposed to winding around from the back. They could have put it on the side, but whatever. I mean, down the road, and again, that's just minor. It's not like a deal breaker. Yeah. Aaron says, I wish I could add some texture to the buttons for the Rodecaster Pro or the Stream Deck. A lot of people like that tactile feeling, that, almost like a braille. Yeah. And I'm kind of shocked in a way that that's not offered. I suppose you could do something custom. That's a good idea, actually. Maybe you should develop that and sell it. That'd be really
I know. Yeah. Like when you go up to each level, you actually feel a tactile feel in the slider. But sliders tend to not have that. Sliders, I mean, going back to my, little bit of my DJ time and when I was younger, it's like, a slider was a full slider, but a dial always seemed to have a tactile feel usually.
Yeah, but the problem with dials,
yes.
You don't know where you are sometimes. If you have to look in the dark, I mean, you don't know where the dot is.
Because everything is compressed in such a small turn because the dial is usually small.
That's
not
the other issue, where with faders, they're usually lit up and you can feel and see the distance. There's something about that. I know I'm on the 10-yard line. I'm on the 50-yard line as opposed to turning things. And thank you, Brian. I appreciate that this is a useful convo. I love this conversation. And I think I'm hoping that people get something out of it.
On a good note, though, which I've hit it accidentally like 12 times by accident, you just touch this top.
Yeah,
right?
You're muted.
It mutes, and it's kind of cool. So you can just go like this, and you can see it changes color. So you can adjust that color.
It can also be a nightmare, though. I kind of tend to, I'm a little bit of a wiggly, and I hit it a couple times on that. Now you get used to things. But I went and cuffed it because I tried to use it with my thumb like like wheeling around like a car. Right. And I was like, why am I muted?
Yeah. I almost feel like it would have been nice to have like another button down at the bottom that you can just leave it on that mute one and then just touch the button.
That's so important. Yeah.
Every time I go to grab it to even move it, look how easy.
Yeah. And look in comparison. So all my mute buttons, first of all, I have whole mute buttons accessible, but each channel has its own mute button, which again, it's right there. I don't want music. I'm done. I don't want John, whatever. That's just a great, again, it's idiot proof and I need idiot proof. But my issue with the Wave is while it's a beautiful thing, you will get used to things, but there's a little bit more to think about when you got to punch buttons, rotate through the three things. not touch the the mute button. That
I think that's part of it is also like, I don't want to say too much what I'm not comfortable about, because maybe it's just because I'm so used to what I have that I'm just like a little frustrated about what I don't have right now.
Yeah, but let's just be honest. You can't deny. If I look at the 2 units right out of the bat, and I'm used to 1, and that's fine. But I can tell you right now, the mental overhead and a live streaming is definitely a lot lower. Threshold for the GoXLR is much easier. There's definitely more to think about on this. It's not brain surgery. I'm just saying that's my little thing. I want to say hi to Samantha before we keep pushing on.
Yeah, you might want to check the sidelines.
How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. I know you weren't feeling well, and we miss you too. And the most important thing is we just need to know that you're feeling good, smiling, and doing your thing, because that's really all that matters.
Yeah, I hope you're feeling better.
Absolutely, doing your And Marlene, how you doing?
Hi, Mom.
No, I feel like
don't even go there.
Okay, so you're
it's not your mom.
But I just feel like we're just saying hi here. That's cool. Robert, thank you. Yeah, I know. You know, go ahead. You want to finish a thought, or let me finish this out real quick.
I was just going to say, did Robert drop that video today you were talking about?
I feel like he dropped it yesterday, but my days are all meshed together.
I feel like I can't even remember what I was doing. So I probably watched it and can't even remember, but I got to double check, because then he came out with a video, and then so did Aaron came out with a video today too. So guys, if you haven't taken a look, go check out those videos for each of the guys, Spoke Audio and Aaron Continuous Conversation.
Yes. Well, don't get too excited.
Did we say hi to Sammy?
I haven't gotten down to him yet.
Oh,
getting there. You're ahead of the curve.
Sorry.
That's okay. We will say hi to Sam. I was just saving Sammy for a special rainy moment. Thank you. I don't get too excited about my trailer. It ended up being probably the most over-edited thing, because I was getting excited with DaVinci, but you know what? It'll be out. I learned a ton. I will talk about that maybe next Tuesday. I'll just talk about my little journey and what I think I learned and didn't learn, and what I would do different about those things. But it was a great sandbox, a great thing to do, and there are many people to thank. And I will do that eventually. So thank you, Robert. I appreciate it. That means a lot to me. Brian Paul, audio routing challenged here. Well, you know, then you're in the right place. We'll help you out, because you've helped us out. I can't even tell people how much he's helped us out. Aaron, audio is harder for me. If you had audio wireless devices on top of the regular stuff, I can start crying in a second. And I need to reach back to Aaron. Aaron and I were having a conversation. Aaron, I didn't forget about you. Things going on. We'll touch base soon. Audio routing is hard for most people. I mean, I've worked with sound engineers for years, who I think was audio routing was hard for them. It can be a really weird thing, and it's really what I don't like about, for example, it can trip you up. So John and I will be doing things and testing, and for no reason, I've got a problem. So let me just go to the app here. And so what I ended up pulling up here is, if you're in Windows, which you would need to be for this anyway, sorry, Mac users, you have your standard input outputs. Now, in our case, it's going to be, we have to choose these for our appropriate setup, especially if we want to.
If you're using the Rodecaster, you got to use the Rodecaster.
Right. It's very typical.
And you could change the output too. So like if I'm using like the Wave XLR, I can have that as my input, and say I wanted to listen to speakers. Well, the Wave doesn't have output for speakers. Right. I could use my Mo2 M2 or like a Scarlett 2i2 as your output, so you can hear it in the speakers. So yes, you will have to have two audio interfaces to be able to do that.
You will. And so where it gets really wonky, and what we've been finding, we talk about phantom gremlins or whatever you want to talk about, is you can walk away, and these settings in here, say you're on StreamYard, which runs through Google Chrome, this setting can get changed on you, and you don't know that. Like you have to be aware of where these triggers can come from, because they will opt out on you for some weird reason. It could be simple as a Windows update or a driver update, or just because you pull out an HDMI card and you put something else in the USB, things just get all wonky because every time you add in and out audio source, they want to play funny. So you have to go through a lot of resetting. I would say if you are a gamer or somebody who doesn't do a lot of tweaking, you can almost get away really without worrying too much about this. You won't have that issue. Moving things around a lot, I ran into an awful lot of problems. Now it helped me figure things out. But I've gone through a lot of fiddling around with John to kind of figure out where is this particular problem coming. So I wanted that 99% of the time it's going to be coming through this, which is just another sub route.
So does that change sometimes when you close the XLR software, or when we close the Wave software? Now does that leave that open that it could change when you reopen the software? And there's been like glitches like that, or the Windows software just supersedes the other things too. And so that is part of the frustration, and that's part of what I've seen happen a couple times, and I think Jeff has too with the GoXLR.
Yeah, I mean, as you go through, you start to figure things out, but it can be maddening. I've been 2 minutes out from a stream and I've got an audio problem. I'm like, John, I don't know. You might have to host this.
Right.
We figured it out, but you do need to know that. Now, I've had where OBS, I remember one of the OBS updates actually threw me out. So, I have to go back. You just got to be aware. Now, when it's working, it's great, but that's like anything. When it works, it's great.
Yeah.
Right now it's been working. I got it settled down. We'll see.
And then the thing for me is, I told you this, and I didn't want to jump the gun because I thought it was that I wasn't even able to download the Wave software from Elgato until I updated my Windows. So my Windows was a couple months behind with updates, and I went to go download it and it just wouldn't even finish the download. And so I said, the most logical thing to do is just do a Windows update, make sure everything's up to date first. Kind of like when, you call and your router's not working for your internet, please unplug it, plug it back in, just a restart, a reset, and update,
If you run it over with your car. Yeah. And then today, for the guys that jumped on, I wanted to look at the software and I couldn't get the download page, which was timing out for some reason for Elgato. And it could be that they're just being overwhelmed. That's not really something that I'm going to, oh my God, it's a problem. It's just, it'll
happen though either, but
it's a bummer. I kind of worked out for me because I had so much to do.
I didn't know Elgato and Corsair, I don't know who owns who, but Corsair has been around forever with computer products and everything. And I didn't know that they're joint
gaming.
Company.
Well, they're big into gaming. And I started wondering if that's more of a partnership.
No, I think it's a partnership. And that's what I didn't know. I didn't know that they were.
I mean, it makes sense, honestly, but I mean, big gaming company, Corsair and all that. Jeffrey, your set looks so amazing. Thank you, Sammy. This was something, I was like, I want to do something different. Having fun with paper. Yeah. This is paper on two stands. I'm like, what can we do? Like what it's, sorry, John.
Hi.
Hi.
We both went green tonight though, like
I know,
by accident.
I wanted to say something because I'm like, we do this constantly, but
that was awesome.
It's so nuts.
And I never go green.
I don't either. This is the first time I think I've ever done it. So I have the Savage Gray paper. It's a fashion gray. I can't remember the actual name by Savage. And it's on the stands. I'm like, you know what? It's fun to build a perception and do something different. So I threw this little set together. I'm in my normal spot and you'd never know it. You look like I changed rooms.
I love that.
It took me 5 minutes. I like this look. I'm also preparing because I'm going to be painting soon. And, that'll be a thing. And that'll be the same color. Well, it'll be a color like what I've got here that'll afford me this. And I love playing with this color schemes. The same thing that John has. Same paint. And so I'm looking forward to that. So thank you for saying something. I appreciate that, Sammy. It's always nice to hear. And it's funny because he says that. Set is so amazing. And also, I like the movie life.
I got a feeling Sammy's been busy doing stuff because he's been a little bit low key lately. So I have a vision in my head that he's working on stuff. So I miss talking to him every now and then. I do chat with him. And God, I can honestly feel like I've been so busy lately that
Yeah.
I feel like I haven't really spoke to too many people, and I just been physically trying to watch people's streams, their videos, and work and just life in general, just trying to keep up. And plus, like you, right? We get this audio equipment. I can't
Yeah.
wait like till next weekend. I can't. I just can't. So
You
it's
were
like,
on it right away. And then mine came yesterday, but I was
yeah.
in the last throes of the video thing. And I'm like, if I open this up now, I'm just going to lose all sorts of momentum. And I wanted to get ready for tonight. So I'm like,
I wanted to open it up and do a live stream because I
yeah,
knew it was going to be hot. And so,
yeah,
really, honestly, I've had a lot of people look at it at the live stream after the fact. So that's
sure.
been kind of cool because I just happened to go punch in Wave XLR, and I was
Yeah.
like the 10th video down.
I'm at a point where I probably should just my first video, I'm going to pivot and just do something on comparing the two because I'm going to be right up that alley like really quick. I have some strong, my only issue is I don't have enough actual practical experience with the Wave.
I'm in the same boat with doing a
No.
video because I don't want to jump the gun
No.
because first of all, they're a very reputable company.
Yeah.
Okay. And I want to make sure that I don't overstep by mentioning something that is incorrect. But that goes with every company. I don't care if they're small or big.
Yeah, you give 'em a
My
fair
idea is to make sure I'm putting the right information out there. Kind of like when people were talking about the brand new Sony camera that's out today, they were doing comparisons with an Canon M50, and I'm like, can you please just do a comparison at least with the Mark II? Like,
Yeah.
don't make a comparison for the the Mark I.
Yeah, it wasn't even, I mean, really, it's not a fair comparison.
Yeah, get a brand new camera, bring out at least the Mark II and discuss the differences. But it was, which I think, we'll probably end up talking about real soon, if not tonight at some point. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Marlene, I love the green lights. What you can do with gray, you can't do green like this or this type of shade without a good gray kind of, I think, a wall. I think really the colors take to this very well. I'm really happy with it. I'm excited for the whole studio to be that gray, which will be same thing that John has, only, Robert says the Wave should be more eyes off. I think I would agree. It's not. And I think he's maybe just making an opinion that for what it is, it should be more eyes off. I think
because we were talking about having sliders and everything.
Yeah.
And so if this is really gamer oriented, then, wouldn't that be more effective?
Well, yeah. And Elgato is gaming first. And that's that's the thing.
Oh, they're going to get there because once they get the feedback off of this,
yeah,
they're going to talk to, the Harris Hellers. They're going to talk to EFOVox and these people are going to give solid input, which they do sway and and listen to these people, and their communities are huge. And they make sense on what they're talking about. So I think we're going to see some changes, or a Type 2 maybe.
Yeah, they're not going to drop it here. I think they see a lot of potential. If I were them, I'd have done the same thing, and that was just get an entry into the market, build off what we have, get a starting point, figure out. Let's beta test it. Let's figure out what people feedback, like you say, from the big guys and from the many people.
Right.
And that's a better way than making a bunch of mistakes and going too large too fast. And I'm not saying that's what the original GoXLR did, but I think they did. I think that in a way they could have had a better, I don't know. Here's
the thing, like, though, they can update the software and it can do incredibly different stuff. So there's a lot of potential here. Like, they can even make they can definitely make a virtual connection to another PC built into the software. So it might not be something that anyone's ever thought about, but I think they're definitely thinking about it. And I think that they're, along with the ability to do VSTs and to update the software and get the glitches out, once they iron out some stuff, because I knew what I was getting with the physical item.
All the promo material was pretty clear about what it was. It wasn't like you were gonna, but it's just one of those things until you use it, you go, oh yeah, that's a little disappointing. And then there were things I went, oh, that's kind of cool. Like now that I use it. So as we use it, and as you know, we use it for some other projects together, that will really come to light, and we'll be able to really. And I'm loving that I have the GoXLR for. I think that's about the closest comparison that I have to this point. Sammy, thank you. You wanted to say that both of our sets look amazing, and Jeffrey's looks like a filmmaking YouTube channel backdrop. Well,
that's the idea.
That's the idea. I'm probably gonna. Yeah, I'm really into editing, and I'm certainly not a filmmaker, but I really enjoy that aspect, and I like the vibe of that. So perfect. We've got a good mix here.
Right. Looking is half the battle, I think. Right.
It is looking and feeling. It is half the battle. Robert, I love Elgato and use several of the products. Wave seems premature as a release. It might be. I think to what you say, John, to circle back, I think Elgato, their biggest concern here is the software first. I think what they're going to do is say, here's a product as an excuse, put it out there. Let's make some R&D back and let's keep developing the software, because in the end, the physical stuff you can, but if you screw up on the software end of it out of the gate, it's really, really difficult to get people. It's like a game that's dead on arrival. It's really hard to get people to buy back into it.
Thing is, though, I mean, this is the same software that's been around for a year now. So it's, I don't know. Here's what I personally think is that there was enough of an interest, but there was a huge interest by going XLR. So I think the hype and the idea of being able to use an XLR mic got more people excited about this product. And we haven't heard enough of the moaning about the software side, because it was directed to just a USB crowd at that point. Right.
Yeah.
But we have heard some people that, like, Lala, right, has used the software and it wasn't, friendly, right? She was using this software.
She was using off the Wave 3. Was it the Wave 3?
Yeah. So that's the same software
on a Mac. And
on a Mac, right?
Problems with the Mac, I think, on that. But here's what I think, though. I mean, maybe that's true, but let's just put ourselves into Elgato, into their footsteps here. Everything's becoming smaller. Everything's becoming a little cheaper. What you could ask for a GoXLR Mini at $250 a year or so ago, people are a little more about paying, especially when the USB mics are coming out, especially like their USB mics are coming out at a $99 price point. And people are going to start to go, I'm not spending $250 for a mixer. I think this was a way to get the size of the unit to be cool with the Stream Deck. That was important to them.
Yeah.
It does a lot of good with the routing. It took the routing software that they already had.
Right.
And it capitalized off of that to give somebody a pseudo GoXLR vibe that really doesn't exist. There isn't really a great competitor, I don't think, for what the Wave does.
No. And that's why I got to stick with it for a while. That's why I'm not going to get frustrated and be like, okay, this is not comfortable right now.
Yeah.
And I want to get rid of it. I'm going to hold on to it. I am going to ride the wave with this.
Yeah.
And I am going to see the new updates come out, and I want to be able to, that was like a Tom Buck joke, right?
I know.
The thing is, like, that's kind of like we have the same humor too.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm old, so and then
the same old jokes. They all land the same, but
that's a dad joke. But the thing is, I want to experience those updates and see where it goes, and give them the opportunity to make improvements. And I think they will.
Yeah.
So I'm ready for it.
So I don't want to complain, because I think, again, I think what a big part of this was they said, hey, we can't price this past X. We just can't. The market will not allow us to do that. And really, we need some traction early. Right. So I think when they weighed that out, this is what they came up with. And it's great. I think for the price point, what it does right now is solid, is all get out.
I would have liked to have seen one more thing. They could have not done. Listen, I know people want a 1/4-inch headphone jack in the back. I know people want a line level out. I know people want outputs for their speakers.
Yeah.
If they would just do one thing and one thing only, which is make this 1/3 longer and try to put 3 sliders in there. small sliders as tall as this thing is. And my God, I think they would knock it out of the park.
I really think that would have been a better way to go. I think
People would have done a backflip over that, because then they could control their music, their chat, and their gameplay, and that would be enough.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. To me, that's I'm having a harder time.
It's almost like, how can they not see that? And I think that I think they're gonna come out with like a version 2, and I think they're gonna add something like that. And I think
can see them going the other way. So I think that's smart in a way. So when Helix came out with the GoXLR, the normal one for 500 plus, it was big, had all the extra stuff, the sliding faders. Now it came out and it was nearly $600.
Right.
And then they went the other way and brought it down to mini, because really that's what the market really wanted. And what Elgato said is that's what the market really wanted. So let's go here, and then you're better off adding in an augmented product at a little higher price for those who may want, and you're going to probably pay for it. But a lot of people, I think, will pay for it. And
I was going to see what I see a lot of companies trying to do, because they think this is what the market calls for, is they want everything smaller, right? And so they try to shrink things down. But then it's like, you look at history and what's going on right now. People were all about small cell phones. Then all of a sudden they're getting bigger and bigger, right? And then you got the GoPros. They were all about, like, you take a GoPro 4, they were so tiny. Then the 7s got bigger, and then the 9s are now bigger. Because here's the thing, people want a balance. They don't want just something to be small. They want something to be small and effective. But if you can't put those effective things in there, or those features, then make it a little bigger and meet it halfway, because that's it. We have to get over just, oh, I'm so great because it's so small.
Well, that's true. And I think where it really is tough for these companies to figure out, you start rubbing, it's really hard at a certain line to know. It becomes a very thin line to say, this is what the people really want. And I mean, there's got to be people sweating that out in the boardrooms going, did we take this too small? Did we not make it big enough? Should we done the sliders out of the gate? It's really hard to know. I think this will sell very well. I think you'll see some augmented stuff, probably with sliders on the road, which I wanted to say, thank you, Robert, for stepping in. No worries. And thank you. I appreciate the support so much.
Well, what's going on the side? Anybody saying anything here?
Yeah, I want to step in here real quick. Samantha says she is getting better, and that is great to hear, honestly.
Good.
Glad
to hear that.
Supposed to hear that. We got just, Mama's doing her thing. She's saying hi to everybody. She's enjoying the topic today because I had no idea about XLRs. She's using USB mic now, which there's nothing wrong with that, of course. I think her mic sounds very nice. Wow. But if you want to go into the XLR in the future, these are great. I think two of the best options. Obviously, the Wave is the newer one.
Options, and that's like, I can't see how anybody would be I don't know why anybody would go out and buy a Blue Yeti right now versus they can get a Wave 3 for that price point with the software and a USB mic. I just think that right now that kind of thing is starting to take over more.
Yeah. It's been interesting in the last few hours how I went from, I'm probably just going to package up the GoXLR and recoup some money for this. And now I'm like, ooh, I'm going to hold on to it. I'll have more to say as I use the other one. And yet I don't want to get rid of this. I really enjoyed it. I will say sound wise right out of the box. And granted, I didn't have the software. I actually really liked what I heard in my ears. So whatever is going through that preamp sounded pretty sweet to me. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought, ooh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I said right from the get-go, I definitely feel like that mic preamp is sufficient. Where I get lost is in the software, because you have a balance on a slider in the software. Mm-hmm. Let me just show you quick. Hold on. Of course I gotta, in this software here, not that software right here. So on top, you could see this right here. And in this here, you can go into the software and you can change this, or by the big knob also, you can go into your, it says mic and PC mix. And so if I pull this all the way to the right, it now goes silent in my headphones and I don't hear myself talking, and I just hear the mix output. And then if I go all the way to the left, I could just hear everything from my mic a lot better. And so now if you want to try to find a happy medium in the middle, okay, that's fine. But then now once I'm done with that, then I have to go over here, and that might throw off what I hear monitoring and what goes out to my stream. And so I have like these so many changes with what my levels are in here that becomes a little confusing.
That's that overhead that I was talking about. I feel like that's
same thing, right?
Yeah. Where, just to kind of build on that. So I want to just go on the physical. I do that right here. So my mic here, I can take up if the music's too loud or the chat. I can do this with my system or the computer, or maybe I've got some other sound going through the system. I have a lot of controls here to mix in a granular level in my headphones, which again, I feel like that's pretty sweet for the money. I don't have that overhead. Now you can do a lot of what you're talking about, but you have to do it. You have to do it in a macro sense. So you can push the button on the knob on the Wave XLR. And I think it's a very nice, way to mix, your ears with what's coming in, but you're limited. You have to submix other things at a tab, where I don't. If you want to do your system or maybe chat, you've got to go into tab out. You've got to go into the software, don't you?
You got to go into the software, and then you can set that offset where I don't have to keep what's in my headphones and out to the stream the same, right? So if I have it, it's kind of like really low in the stream. It might be very low in my headphones. And so I could separate that and just pull it up in my headphones to hear it. But then if I want to go and see what's going out to the stream, I once again have to go to this. I'll show you. Then I'll have to go right to this software again, and then say if I got listening to music, or like right here, I have this hooked up to Spotify, my music. So I can listen here and see how when I slide these, because this is connected. These are separated now when that little knob is gone.
You can link them, basically.
Right. Thank you for the right word. And so if I link them and I have this offset, it will always stay that offset up and down. And to tell you the truth right here, this was Harris Heller's idea. They took it and ran with it. And that was a great idea. So this way you can adjust that. So this way, if you are running something really low, you might not hear it really good in your stream. But so now you want to hear it a little bit better. Then I can come down here. I have a monitor mix, excuse me. And then I can hit this ear, and this is the stream mix. So this is the actual sound that is supposedly going out to the stream that I can hear. And so, there's a lot going on here compared to just having a plain old audio interface and, turning up a couple knobs. There's a lot more going on here. And so the control to go into different, softwares that you could connect with, different your music app. Then you could go into sound effects and adjust those on the fly. You can go into your browser, so it always comes in, your Chrome comes in at a certain level and doesn't overtake you while you're talking. So there's a lot of stuff here that you have for control. And so I don't want to like talk like there's not this control.
No, I think the question, no, not at all. But I think the question is, what is that control at a a physical level and a quick level, as opposed to the ability to control anything at all, like you say. So I can do the same thing in my app. He's talking about the same thing. I can go in and
right. And these are the only two things that let you do this to this extent.
They are.
And then you have Voice Meter too, but then that's a solely different software. And I think what most people, their issue with that is they have more latency.
Yeah. And there's always a latency issue with that. Not always, but it saves you, but there's a little more work. And the average person just doesn't need to deal with that.
The average person doesn't. And I'm above average, and I don't want to deal with it.
No, I don't either. I had fun doing it just to do it, but I'm like, I don't want to screw it. This is not what I want to be doing here.
No.
The only thing I would say is you can do all that. Just like I can, you could go in and do some preset leveling. The problem is what can you do at the live moment and how important that is too. Because I feel like I've got more control of the live setting to adjust all that in my ears.
I agree 100%.
But I will say I want to hear more of the Elgato because I liked what I was hearing through the preamp. It was a really sweet sound, and I want to get in there and play with that. Even though the meters were not reading very well,
I want to hear more cowbell.
No cowbells. Robert says, "You guys are killing me. Going to watch my work conversation." Oh, that's like actually a great compliment. I appreciate that, Robert. Robert. Yeah, and Ryan did follow up with the Corsair did buy in 2018 the company employees, and it was actually for they wanted to get live streaming. They saw it coming.
I mean, Corsair has been around since, they were a huge memory company back in the late 90s when you went to go buy memory back then, it was Geel and Corsair. And then they went in and just kept on expanding everything. And they became, a very big company. So.
Yeah. And Robert said that Elgato's really good at updating, and they are, and augmenting as they go. That's the thing. I think they've got they're really tapped into the process and listening to feedback and suggestions, like good gaming companies do. So I think that's a good sign. And
there's no doubt
they do.
This is not like somebody out on the side doing what's that website where everybody donates money to the product? What is that called? When they do a
Kickstarter, like a Kickstarter?
Kickstarter, right.
Okay.
That's it. So, doing it like a Kickstarter. I do this to my wife all the time, Jeff, too, by the way.
Remember
that restaurant? I don't know what it is, but But
remember my grandmother would be always like, who's that actor? You know that actor, the one
you know him.
You know that guy. I'm like, what are you talking about? Give me some clue.
Yeah.
That's still true.
No, you know him. You know Beretta.
Oh. Beretta. That guy, he had a bird. He had a white bird.
He had a white bird on his shoulder. You know who I'm talking about? Oh, Jay Leno. Jay Leno. You talking about Jay Leno?
Yeah, Jay Leno. Are you talking about Magnum PI? What are you talking about here?
Tom Selleck.
We've just aged ourselves by like a ton.
My mom met Tom Selleck.
Did she really?
Yeah.
Is he as dreamy in person? I bet he is.
She said yes, and from what I know, he's a really nice person. But he was doing a movie close to us, and filming a lot of scenes around the area, and she got to meet him.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, real cool.
He seems like a nice guy to me.
I always thought the feedback was he always was, and plus he just seems that way too.
I'll touch on it on my video. I don't mind touching on it here. The only physical problem, and I'm going through every scene I have. The only I like the setup. I have and it doesn't slide. It's really, they got the rubber bottoms, and so does,
it's a nice table too.
You like that, Dan? I wonder why.
I like it a lot.
The only thing I've griped about this to John, I cannot understand this power cord. You see how it looks like it's falling out.
Yeah.
Just give me another 1/8 of an inch. Why not? I constantly am worried about snapping that off.
They need a screw in. They need to have that power cord. They normally, right? You have
clip in here. I mean, even the XLR doesn't have the standard clip, which I think it should have. I mean, these are units you're using for sound. You shouldn't be able to accidentally knock them out, for God's sakes. But the power, there's no excuse for this. This not recessing that in. I think that's probably the only thing that bugs me on a physical level. The rest of it, I don't have a problem with. But that annoys me to no end. I'm just gonna put that out there.
I would be aggravated with that too, because I mean, that's your audio. I mean, something like, like the Rodecaster has this, right? So you push this in and it gives you power. This threads in right here.
Right.
That this little thing is tactile too. It's got like a knurling on it, and you just screw this in and it holds. And a lot of audio equipment has stuff like this, like a push in or a turn in a lock. And so this will not fall out by itself. And so that would have been like a perfect thing to have.
Give me the option to buy it as an add-on for an extra $1. I don't care really. You should have that. There's no excuse for that.
Should be incorporated. This
right
here.
Well, you know.
Isn't that funny though? We got the same table. We never
Get me out
talk
of
to
there.
each other. We got like the same lights that were similar lights. We've
Very
gotten
smart.
like we've gotten so many things that are very common or
Yeah.
looked at a lot of the same stuff without ever discussing it with each other.
It's kind of crazy. I'm
It's
looking. I
funny.
mean, it's and look at our green. And I don't know how many times we don't look. People, John and I don't go. Hey, what are you wearing? What's your?
We almost should be doing that though.
I
We
know.
should
What's
we
your?
should be going.
What's your
Jeff, what
color
color are you
scheme
going
gonna
tonight?
be?
Yes.
And how many times now we don't wear a lot of the same shirts, but we do have the same color background so often it's kind of gotten a little spooky. I'm surprised our wives don't have the same first name.
Here's the thing though, with the feedback that I have gotten from people,
Mhm.
when they see our sets and the colors match, I had a guy today and
Mhm.
he was brand new to just looking at my page and he pulled it up and he's like, I wouldn't know if this guy, because I told him, I said, this guy's in Wisconsin and I'm like all the way in Jersey. He's like, I wouldn't know that that guy's not in the next room by looking at you guys because your sets like really match in color and everything.
Yeah, it's crazy sometimes. And at first I thought, well, who cares? But it is funny to hear people talk and they seem to like the balance almost because it's not distracting. Sometimes you'll see on streams like something so different.
So
It can
off.
be, there's something about it kind of washing across.
This guy's got like a gamer overlay, and this other guy's got like a classy overlay. He's like a
Right.
banker.
I've got like all sorts of like things going off around me, and there's you just going, "What? I'm just settle down with your whole presentation." It's annoying. But this is a beautiful look. And I just love it. Now, I didn't mean to copy your light in the background, but apparently I did. But I needed something to fill that space, so I went with a light.
It's not a copy. I mean,
I was influenced by you.
Whatever. I was influenced by somebody else, I'm sure. I just wanted to get a light that looked cool in the back.
Remember, we call that influenced originality. That's my new term.
Yeah.
I believe in that. I'm going to use that on my screen.
I have been looking for something new, innovative, and cool to put back with the lighting, and I can't find anything yet. So,
yeah, no,
but I'm looking.
Good luck with that, Robert. Thanks for sticking around this long. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
It's going to go turn on one of those old local networks and watch a little Beretta.
I know he's watched Beretta before.
You know, it's on right after Columbo. And I can't think of something. I was trying to think of
Kojak.
Little Kojak. Yeah.
Telly Savalas, dude.
Could you imagine trying to explain Kojak to Sammy?
Yeah, Sammy's the type of guy that might know it, though.
I know. He was a badass cop. Okay. He was shaved bald and he loved to suck on suckers. That is how he figured out who killed the guy who killed somebody at the Chinese cleaner. It's like, Streets of San Francisco.
He wasn't more of a badass than Charles Bronson, though.
Well, he was a badass because he was calm. Like he never
lost his cool.
We're going to take you down. And he'd suck on the sucker that seemed to never end, but then, it wasn't him. It was the
lollipop got his brain thinking and he would make decisions with it.
He's like, I can't figure this out. And then all of a sudden a hand comes with a lollipop from the side and it's a cop and he hands him a new lollipop. He's like, we got it solved.
Usually have a cool hat on.
Yeah. He had the little derby. No, it's not a derby. Yeah. It was like a derby hat.
Something like that. Like with the little thing he would wear once in a while.
Had like a plaid look to it or sawtooth.
We're dating ourselves.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
She says she got new RGB lights and tried to get a similar feel as your backgrounds. To see is to believe, though. I don't know if I'll make it work. Here's the thing. You have all the equipment from what I've seen between she has a Canon, right? She has got the Mark II.
She has a Canon M50.
And I don't know. Well, it doesn't matter, but does she have the Sigma? I can't remember now. Does she have that?
No, she has a 22 millimeter and a kit lens, 16 to 50. 15 to 45. Sorry.
Well, I mean, you're right there. Do what I do and waste a lot of time playing. No, you have to play around. It's not a waste of time.
I think Mama Lala is getting the bug, the tech bug. And she's like, she's trying new stuff. And this is how it starts.
She's putting those other crafter channels to shame. Yeah. And here's the thing. Who better to do color stuff outside of photographers than somebody who's crafty? I mean, you have an idea about colors and composition and what looks good. You're made for this. Where John and I are like, oh, banana tastes good. You know, we don't know what we're doing, and we just kind of play around and go, I guess it looks all right. I don't know.
I
You
think
get
he's
better at it.
crazy.
But yeah. Huh?
We know exactly what we're doing.
I will
I don't
say,
agree with him at all. He
uh,
thinks night and day what he's doing. What is he talking about?
it's true.
Uh,
You know, it's funny when got my first lights, which would have been all of like February. I had no idea about lighting, and I was such a fool. Like I was really making so many mistakes.
oh yeah.
We talked about that. It's not just lightings, bro. It's the camera, the lens, the placement, the angles. You know, all of it. We can go on and on, right? And until you figure out all those variables, but the only way you can do it is play with it. And I think like this, Lala is going to have it all figured out. But you're right, John. I mean, I'm feeling really confident about being able to put a set together, a scene together instantly, and know ahead of time now, just from the short experience. I'm sure you feel the same way. It's like, yeah, this will look like this in my head. You know, I'll get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But going back to the whole software and everything.
Golden
Right.
Girls.
Right.
Oh
The Golden
my God.
Girls, that was classic.
But the song, we could sing the song. I mean,
I
you
love
know,
the mother. The mother was so funny.
she was great. And yes, we have the same sets all the time and the same toys, and it's because we're streaming buddies.
See
She's
above
onto
that
us.
where
She's
she
onto
put
us.
every time she put the LOL, that she's referring to when I asked you. Yeah.
Do you remember, like, do you know
Yes.
who's that guy? Who's that? You know the guy.
I do that to her all the time, and I get mad at her. I'm like, "Come on, you remember this?
You're like my
She's
Nana.
I don't know what you're talking about. You're not giving me any information."
Next thing you know, you'll be handing out Werther candies and a nickel to kids.
Butterscotch. But
It's so true. And if you only had a purse, that would make it so much even better.
but yeah, I do that to her all the time. But the thing is I was coming into this stream. I haven't gone on StreamYard, and I was picking my audio inputs, and I'm like, oh my God, I knew off the top of my head that it should be my headphone to be able to hear everything, because that's what I use to listen to the stream.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I just want to make sure. But I actually was getting a little nervous as I came in and hoping that everything picked up the way it should. And it
I saw you doing the 3 minute before thing, bending over, looking like you're looking for your lost something.
This is what happened. This is what happened. I unplugged my headphones to go get something. I came back. I didn't plug them in, and I'm going through the StreamYard settings, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't hear myself. Oh my God, I don't hear. And then I was like, oh, you're such an idiot.
Oh God, I'm going to blame GoXLR for this. I know that look of desperation when you start bending over, getting on your knees. You were that is like that desperate move. And I saw you doing it, but I'm like, well, he's fine because I have to kind of make this happen. But I know that look, it's not fun. And you've seen it with me a couple times, the panic. And it's funny how often that'll happen where I did that, where I pulled out of the GoXLR, I pulled my monitors out and I put them into my laptop as I was doing the trailer stuff. And I did that where I'm like, why can't I hear the mic? Why can't I hear whatever? And I'm like, oh God. Okay. I gotta, an idiot. And you're by yourself and you're like calling yourself an idiot and all that. But
yeah. You know what it is people see me doing my streams, and a lot of time I'll jump on a stream and fight with what I'm trying to learn just to show people the process, and because here's the thing, every time somebody gets something new that's like tech wise, you get a like refined video of them ironing out everything, and everything's great, and this is how it works. But the reality is there's hours behind some of this stuff to learn and figure out. And
you have to fail. That is the only way. And you don't know what you're going to fail in until you use it. And you have to use it in so many different scenarios with different softwares. And that's now live streaming, I think, will really bring out the demons pretty quick. And so we have that going for us because we do it twice a week.
Right off the bat, when I go into vMix, I don't have an option for a stream mix. It's not in there.
Right.
So why is it like if I go to OBS, I can have a stream mix, but when I go into vMix, there is no stream mix from my wave. So that's a little like confusing.
Oh, that's interesting. I got to look at that. Tomorrow will be my day in a way to start looking at that. That's a little concerning, but I bet we can figure that out because they has to work with that, or
Well,
they're dead in
I
the water.
did. I mean, it's working. Like what I have working right now is just it comes up audio wavelink. So it comes up just the software. So it doesn't say that. So I just pick the system and it picks up wavelink, and then I bring in the mic separate, similar to what I do in OBS. But if you go to Elgato, I don't forget that guy's name. He does all the videos. Stenky. My name's Stenky. He does all these Elgato videos. And so he goes into it. And they say just pick the stream mix, which is your mic plus all the audio added together.
Right.
And I didn't like that because I like to bring in my mic separate. And then if I want to go into my mic, I can go and set an offset with time sync issues. I can go and add a VST if I want. I can add a compressor, a filter. And then I can adjust the mix as it comes in my headphones separately too, which is then I don't have to go into that software because OBS has that kind of stuff. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't get that, but maybe I don't know. Maybe we'll figure that out. But you guys rock. Yeah, we kind of rock in a weird way.
Sometimes.
Or we have rocks for heads. It's fine. You know, one of the two. Lala says, I will try. If it doesn't work, it's okay. Just enjoying applying the things I learned from you both. Oh,
thank you.
Thank you. And that's cool. And we want to know how it goes and what you learn, and you're going to learn something, I'm sure at some point it's going to help us. So that's cool. Yeah. And by the way, I didn't ignore your comment earlier, Brian, but I was kind of waiting on that. Oh yeah, here we go. Either that or a cat is messing with your setup. Yeah. Well, we've seen that with you. Another reason why I won't have a cat, probably. Brian, you know, we're running into an hour and a half. We can talk about it at this point. We don't probably want to go deep on it, but we both saw the Sony EV10 came out, and I have thoughts on it, and I know you look. Did you get a chance to look at it much today or no?
Me?
Yeah.
I went over a lot of things, and it's the same thing, right? So it's no different with pretty much the guts of this is a 6400. So everything's pretty much the same. But there's differences in kind of the build quality. Whereas if you get a 6400, you're going to be spending $200 more with the kit lens versus with what comes with the EV10, which is a weird name too. But
I don't like
so
it.
Here's the thing. It's a plasticky kind of material versus having a magnesium body in the 6400. But there are some pluses and minuses, and I have actually found some pluses over both of them with the ZV-1. And so I think you got to weigh what you're using this for. And one of the things is the ZV-1 is smaller than both of them. You got this lens that stays on there and it folds down. But also the ZV-1, being that it has a built-in lens, you do have image stability in that lens. And then you have a digital stability inside the camera, and they both work hand in hand. And if you are doing a lot of moving and walking around with that camera, it's almost like going to give you the best of either of them when it comes to like walking around and vlogging. But as far as being able to change a lens is important. So no matter what, like right off the bat, if you want to change a lens and you know what you're getting yourself into, then you want that ability, then right there, that makes this is it a ZV or 10 or an EV10?
I've seen it kind of both ways.
It's a ZV10.
I thought it was ZV. Well,
yeah, it is. So it's probably next to each other. Probably it's next to, but it's yeah. So the ZV10 is a good camera, but it's the same Bionics, whatever they call it, X processor. It hasn't changed since 6100. But you do get the S-Log2 in this camera, which is a nice thing at that price point, $200 cheaper. But everyone says basically if you drop this camera from almost any height, it's pretty much done.
Well, it's not dust, certainly not dust protected. That body won't. protect
Right.
you, which is a little concerning when people go on vlogging. I mean, I don't know.
Just
Maybe
know
it's
you
not
have to know what you're
sinful.
getting yourself
Gotta know
into
what you're getting. Yeah.
and what you're going to use your camera for, you
Right.
know. But
Right.
the good thing is, like, say I'm going to use that type of camera strictly for video, you know, the majority of everything.
Right.
And so when you don't have an eye, you know, you don't have an eyepiece, whereas like I'm telling you right now, if you're like a majority photographer or you're a half and half photographer, the Canon M50, looking through that eyepiece is way better than looking through any of the Sony's eyepieces by a ton. So, but if you're a videographer that much more, then, you know, this has nothing to look through, and you're basically looking at the back of that screen, which is underlit by a lot. It's frustrating to use in light. And it's the same thing with my ZV-1. So I'm not talking just from watching videos. It's the same thought process. And if finally, it seems like a lot of big people like Gerald on Dunn are getting very frustrated with having the same old menu system in this camera.
Right. They
And
didn't really do a lot of changes.
no update with the brand new camera.
The only thing they added into that full front was the USB connection, so you could 720 stream out to Zoom.
Right.
So that I saw that added to the menu system, which look, nice feature. It's not 1080, but you know it'll get the job done, which is fine.
Right.
You know, it'll look nice, especially with a nice lens. So you know you're going to get a better look. You know, and you can see what they did. They really just tried to make some of the probably user complaints for vloggers out front. So the biggest concern, I just want a button that will make my background blur. I want, you know, like they took away a lot of like the rolling media button stuff. I think a lot of the advanced users might find some of that frustrating.
They took a lot away to take everything to this body to be in the smallest level. So the name of it is the ZV-E10. So that's even more frustrating, right? Because it's like, wow, what are we doing here? It's just so it doesn't even roll off your tongue very easy.
But just make it a Z10 or something.
But here's a plus, and here's the thing that I think other people were frustrated. And what I've been saying since day one with the ZV-1 is you're giving me an articulating screen, which is fantastic. And everybody loves that, but you're so limited on the touch. And I don't care what anybody says. I mean, here is they're calling it a vlogging camera, which if I were them, I would never call it that, but they call it a vlogging camera. And I'm going to look at myself in this screen. And if I want to change anything in the camera, I have to look behind the camera to push a button to be able to touch anything on that screen and change anything. And I think that's just, at this point, I don't know how anybody doesn't think it's ridiculous, but it's enough of that. And they need to make this change soon.
Yeah. And just like the 6400, the touch screen is pretty much useless even on this one. There's really not much you can do with it.
It's a focus. It's a focus touch screen. So when you're in focus and when you're looking for a focus point, you can move it on the screen. And that's all that these cameras do. So now if you're giving somebody an articulating screen where you can actually flip it towards you as you're vlogging, and I have experience with the ZV-1 that you're not going to be able to make a change on the fly. And hence why I keep on telling people that it's a dream to use my Canon M50 Mark II for a lot of stuff and to be able to make those changes so easy.
I mean, what they built, you look at that package and they're adding $100, I think, for the hand tripod that you can attach to it. And it's nice. You got the controllers for zoom in, zoom out, and things. That's pretty handy.
Which you could buy for $50.
Right. It's not cheap, but I think that's how they're going to make up for this price point is to go, you really want this.
No, you could buy the similar thing that does the same exact thing as that for $50.
I think so, but I think a lot of people just won't get it.
They won't do it. Yeah, they'll just get that because it says Sony, we know it works, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. I mean, there's,
but the thing is, don't get me wrong. These are things that I would be kind of frustrated with, but and plus, like I've been talking to you over and over, is the 6400. Like when we talk about the 4K, the picture is really great quality. But the rolling shutter is almost ridiculous, and how
garbage
bad it is
on this too, though, right? So
yeah. But the thing is, if you're doing a still picture and you're slowly panning things, then that's fine. But if you make any herky-jerky movements,
Yeah.
when I'm talking about a rolling shutter, look it up, guys, and you'll see what it is. It basically makes your whole picture look like Jell-O, and the whole picture moves like this, and that's called a rolling shutter. And that is what's been happening since day one, long time ago. But listen, no one's complaining because these are entry-level cameras that do 4K at such an incredible resolution, because they're basically taking a 6K picture in and downing it to 4K. So the quality is like great. Okay. Not like Canon does where they degrade it, you know? And so no one's complaining. So for an $800 camera with a kit lens, Jeff, you're not going to get a better camera for the price.
No, and I don't know. I watched the official promo from Sony today on that as well, because I thought that was interesting. And they went through the specs to kind of give you the idea of that. But I noticed they really leaned into going, don't you just want to be able to push a button and get a blur? Don't you want to be able just to be able to zoom at yourself with a little finger, even though you can do that on things already? What was the other one? They really kind of leaned into the typical vlogger usage selfie kind of idea. Now, you can't use that as a, like you say, it has to be set for video on something, and you can't just
you got to. But the thing is, they have to tell people this, because you don't want to buy something, okay? Because in 1080p, you don't get that issue. Or if you buy, and listen, Canon's no way around this too. But I think that's part of the reason why they're not giving you 100% 4K. Part of the problem is probably a processing power issue, and then the other thing is they realize that even though they're not giving you true 4K in their cameras, like the M6 Mark II, the rolling shutter problem still exists. It's just not as bad as the 6400, but it still exists. And I think if they were to give you true 4K, like Sony's doing, they would have equal problems. And so I think they're trying to mediate that in some fashion and give you a good look, because they know the reality is that everything gets processed through YouTube and all. But I mean, the fact is, if you set the camera down on your tripod, or you're using it like this and you want to stream in 4K or whatever you're doing, and this is a thing that I've been saying from day one.
Their promo video, if you watch their promo video, they have that girl running around where they're just doing this with the video, doing her. I'm like, that's not going to look good. I'm sorry.
4K, no.
The quick reviews on it were even in 1080. It was, So, I mean.
Because you know what, though? Listen, I'm telling you, Jeff, you can't. This is what they do when people want to expect more of a camera than someone's giving them, right? When the Canon M50 Mark II came out, everybody was against it. And then all of a sudden, everybody was running back to it and doing all these great review things. For this camera at $800, what did I tell you the other day? I said the guy who was selling his 6400, and he wouldn't budge in price, discussing with me by $100 for the package I wanted to give him. Now someone's going to go out and say, okay, I don't have to buy that 6400. I'll buy this for $200 cheaper. And what's your 6400 worth now?
Well, he's going to wish he'd done it, because just the energy of the new product alone, before people figure some things out, is going to be such that he's no longer in play. Probably, unless somebody's really wise, maybe to something.
Well, he might catch somebody, but the thing is, what I'm saying is, I'm glad I didn't jump the gun, because I knew they were eventually going to come out something. And this camera, for what I might need it for, as another camera in the studio that is versatile and has 120 frames with autofocus in there, is the one thing that I want to get my hands on, and this gives me a better price point to get into that. Yeah,
and it's not, even though it's not at 4K, then they push the other issue of how, and this for people, this is going to be really nice, where you can film the slow motion without having to dump it into an editor and deal with all that. You can basically do it all on board. I thought it was a nice feature. There's some things for people that just want a 1080 out and get the job done, and I'm one of them. So I may end up with this thing at some point. But you made some good points about the ZV-1. So then it will come down to price, and again, I'm the same argument about 6400 and whatnot.
Yeah, it's kind of like you got to think like what you're looking for. And so in the ZV-1 factor, I can have it in my studio. Yeah, the sensor's smaller, but for what am I using it for? It's not a matter. And I could take that ZV-1 and basically it's really small and put it away and be able to use it for a very small, good quality, high-end camera. I mean, seriously, if you have enough light and you look at the video quality between a ZV-1 and a 6400, I think a lot of people would have a problem distinguishing the difference. And also, what makes up for that factor is the ZV-1 goes to down to a 1.8 at its closest setting in the zoom. And immediately, as soon as you go out of that, though, it goes to 2.8. But still, that's a much better f-stop compared to getting a kit lens that starts at 3.5. So that's going to make up a little difference in low light conditions.
Yeah, depending on the price, I just think that's a really nice rig. That's a really nice camera as a second camera to get so much done that there's going to have to be not too big of a gap for me to jump onto this right away. I'm not dissing this, but I'm not sure for my use that I could justify it. But there's some interesting things,
But at this price point at 800, does that going to bring down the ZV-1?
Right.
Is that going to bring it to, I don't know, 650, 600? Is it possible? So at that point, if they get down that low, people are not going to complain about menu issues and touchscreens because, my God, you're getting such incredible stuff for in a camera for that cheap.
A 3-point mic or whatever. I mean, I just don't. That thing's still not going to be usable for most things. And
that's another thing that's really great with that new the E10, the ZV-E10, is that you got the 3-point mic there, and you have that mic muff, and that's still a hot shoe. And you can order Sony products, put a shotgun mic in there. That mic, I've said from day one, is like you can literally go out and vlog without bringing anything extra. You could just bring that on top, and it sounds fantastic. I don't think many people would complain. I mean,
which mic?
The mic that's built into the ZV-1 and to this new camera, the E10. The mic is a great camera.
Yeah,
I mean, the mic is a great mic. It's good for what it is. I'm very surprised every time I use it how great it sounds.
That's great. Okay. Aaron says, I'm still having a bit of a problem with the focus on his 6000. And even with the mic pop screen on, it's better, but still, I'm not following that track. So he's having trouble. Okay? So you're having trouble with the focus.
Yeah, so a lot of people have problems with the Sony focus system because there's so many choices in the system and it's confusing. So when you get into the system, not only do you have settings for sensitivity and changing factors of the focus and how smooth or fast it pans in and out with the focus, but also there's like face bracketing and face recognition almost that's built into these things. And if you don't set that stuff up, if you notice, like I think Jeff is gonna be fine tuning things as he goes along and gets to know more. But when he goes like this and goes like this, and see how my camera doesn't change at all. But if he goes and does this, it will latch right onto his hand really quick.
I have it on a fast setting right now. So if you're not careful, like I was doing something else with it, which made sense. Now it doesn't because you get this, which is great when you need it, but you would want it on a normal response.
But besides that setting of changing fast, you could have it never leave the lock of your face or your eye.
Right.
So even as you get close. So there's other settings like I go like this, like I would have to leave this here and it would have to go for a while. So that way, when you're doing any of this kind of talk, because you use your hands a lot, and then you will get rid of that, and then you'll have a set. But man, does your picture quality has gone through the roof with the new camera, and it's kind of like what I thought from the beginning that it wasn't doing you justice. That 5100.
No, the 50. And it's shocking. Again, I didn't know anything about cameras, and John always said from day one, it's good, but it's a nice way of saying it's not great, but you don't know.
Yeah, but I felt something was wrong with it.
And you're going to notice it in the trailer because I had an issue with it, but I used the B footage anyway. I didn't care because no one's going to care about this thing 6 months when I take it down. But there's something wrong. There is something goofed up with it. And
because I see in other people, and you even said it, we've seen Nick Nimmin using a 5100, and
His looks great.
it looks like a great picture. Now, I don't know, I'm not talking about just the color factor. It's just that
It's
you
like
were getting like where it just doesn't, it didn't seem very, the picture didn't seem very clear.
No, it's not clear. It almost feels like it stutters, and I don't know. It's like really hard to explain, but yeah, it never felt sharp. And I want to blame it on user, but I went through everything with that thing, all with the fine tooth comb, and I couldn't figure out a combination to make that. I think there's a problem with it. I think you're right, is what the answer is. And so I am going to be looking for another camera. Now I'm going to get myself caught up in the same twist, because this is what we do. I really liked what I saw in the promos. I do have some problems with what I saw as well. And so I'll have to really weigh that out. And there are some great arguments about just using an onboard lens. With that lens is nice to, you've got to take it with you. You've got just
so easy.
You know what I mean? It's just, I'm looking for easy, John. I don't really need a button that's going to give me bokeh. I don't really need the instant USB button for streaming. I don't think that's something they're not marketing to me. I don't think. What I need is simple to make the product, simple to go get what I need.
But another great thing though, for like, say someone that was getting their only camera, it's got a headphone jack too, besides having a mic jack.
That's true. I
mean, there's a lot of great things where, like, as much as we say the negative things, my God, what are they giving you for $800 is unbelievable.
No, it's a real deal. Look at who's in the house. Mr. Doma, how you doing?
How you doing?
Haven't seen you in a minute. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for stopping in on this Tuesday. I appreciate it. It's good to see you and your.
Go check out his channel. Yes. He has a new montage video that came out this week.
I love the montage.
He's always working on different videos that he's working on, and he's always hustling, just like the rest of us.
We're all hustlers. Come on now.
That's it, man. You got to be a hustler here.
Aaron said that he did register his face, and the face recognition is also on. And then where I get into frustration. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna like listen. Here's the truth, right? People go and talk. They talk a lot, right? So you get these people, and they're Sony fans or they're Canon fans. I'm neither. I'm always that way. I just want the product to work the best. So if this is the best product, I'm all for that. But you'll get people go back and forth, and you'll hear, and these people are not small YouTubers. These are people that know what they're talking about. There have been focus issues with these Sony cameras. It has come up here and there. And so, when they work really well with the AI that they keep on improving on, it's pretty incredible. But I think, like, all the way around, every camera, once you have any issues with low light issues, it's gonna look for different things, and learning your settings, and like doing that face tracking and recognition and stuff, being like, if you have this light in the background and say it's overwhelming you, those kinds of things will take away from that focus going over to you, and that would over to the light. And that always happens when you dip your head down, usually, because as soon as the camera starts losing eye contact with you, then it wants to look for something else to focus on. So these are things that you have to learn and figure your camera out.
Exactly. I mean, one of the things I've got going on right here is that what I was running into last week, and you can see my mic is actually out of here because my camera had been grabbing onto this because of the way the light, generally with the way the light's hitting it. Right now I won't be able to do it, probably because it's not, it's kind of trying to grab it. So, you just run into that kind of thing where you have to decide where your placement's going to be as well, how the light is hitting something. I think you kind of hit it on the head so often. It's really just lighting fighting you.
Your lighting, you wear glasses, that makes a difference.
Yeah.
All these things make a difference. And then it's also, like I said, there's all these extra settings that are in, which can be confusing in their menu systems of Sony. But once you get you have to take the time to figure it out. Once you figure it out, 90% of the time, the focus system is very, pretty impressive in general. So there's no better cameras. I mean, if you're looking for a system that is going to be the best autofocuses that are out there, it's going to be either a Canon or a Sony. That's just a fact.
It is, and I'm in. I feel pretty good that this fall is probably when I'll want to grab a second camera, and I have some choices. It could be from anything from the ZV-1 to another, maybe the Canon, or I'll check this one out.
Yeah, you got to see where all these prices fall because
I want to see the prices go, and that'll be because it all should start there.
But my God, $800 for that camera and what it gives you, and then what's going to happen Black Friday? Are they going to drop that price another $50?
That's body only. Oh, 800 maybe.
800's everything.
700's body only. So
yeah,
it's a pretty good deal.
That is a steal. I think it's just that's a great camera. And like I
said,
think
it's worth waiting for Black Friday. We're that close and see how the stuff pans out. Yep. I'm really getting to a point where I know where my pressure points are for my process. And we've talked about a grab and go camera. I think the ZV-1 or 10, one of those is going to work out perfect for that. I really do. Yeah. I just got to decide.
That's why I have no buyer's remorse with the ZV-1.
It's still,
it's exactly what I wanted. Yeah. It wasn't like I was settling on something.
And a lot of people with the one immediately today said the same thing. Like, well, this looks fine, but I don't see how this. I already have the one, and I'm happy with it. Just not really that amazing unless you want to swap lenses. That we're like, it's fine. I mean, they're not sold that right now they have to drop the one to go get it. And I don't think that's what Sony was looking to do. I don't think they were looking to create buyer's remorse for ZV-1 guys, but I think they just created another reason for certain. They're fine tuning their avatar with that vlogging.
They're trying to take over the content they're trying to get that jump on the content creator thing,
They're the Elgatos of the camera market.
Yeah, which, hey, it makes sense, but that's what I feel like they should address it to. It shouldn't be like a vlogging camera, because that's kind of like just weird to me, because it should be a content creator, because it's not like.
I think they're worried about offending, though, people who put money into bigger cameras. They're content creator. I think they're saving that term for what they consider to be a higher level.
Maybe
they're looking at vloggers as TikTokers, people that are putting some quick. I know, I'm not saying
that's not a huge percentage of people buying the cameras, though. That's what's weird.
No, maybe I'm misreading that. I just think they're looking at content creators. And they're saving that. I think they're saving that as a more respectful thing for a larger market of people who spend more money. I do believe that. And they're trying to separate that out by saying, well, vloggers are cute. Here's the best product for you. Now, I think in their heart, what they want to do is go, let's just really key into vlogging. That's what they should do. I think they're just worried, though, to move too fast and start creating anger.
It's just like anything else, though. If you bring it out to a content creator, it's entry level. This is advanced. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's the same with everything. Like, you have levels, and once you start putting products in levels and showing that to the people as levels, then it's easily accepted.
Yeah, but if you go and dig deep and look at comments, you see right away that's not so true. The people that are invested into this, the people that feel like they're, I want to say, more passionate or involved into a decent, respectful level of creating, which is very subjective, but I think that there is a little bit of like, forget these people. They're just, they're weekend warrior creators. They're not true content creators. I think it's just something that,
maybe they should leave both of those things out and just let people make decisions about how the camera works for them.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I mean,
that might be the way to go. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they should just be like, okay, this is what this camera does. If it's you, then you buy it. Because
I think though, it makes sense in a way to stay, at least for the moment, on the word vlogger, because people know what it means. Maybe that'll evolve as that line of their stuff becomes more announced, but
it's such a small little niche. I mean, who's a vlogger? Like, even vloggers have sit down video that's just as much as their video as doing the vlog.
I think it's a placeholding name. I think it's a placeholder label because people know what it is, so it's easy to market. When I say vlogger, what does that mean?
Maybe it's kind of cool.
Their test I'm sure their marketing team went around and said, when I say vlogger, what does that mean to you? On the go, current trendy creators, Hip, Light
Yeah.
Gear. I think their focus groups probably said, yeah, this makes. They probably spent $1 million on a focus group to figure out.
I better start vlogging then. A lot more.
Well, they're not paying vloggers. They spent money on this stupid term.
I got so many videos I need to make. I mean, first of all, like, why am I have so much stuff. One of them is like doing a vlogging comparison between my GoPro and the ZV-1. I mean, like those people want to see that stuff.
Yeah. That's going to be a good comparison. Or look at me, I've got already a 2 XLRs to compare, and you know what? I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I think it's gonna be really hard to go. I mean, I'm gonna have to spend some time with this thing, though.
Yeah, me too.
Just
in case you're listening for the first time, we're talking about
the Wave XLR. Yeah, we're speaking about the new Wave. I'm gonna just screw this up probably.
That and the GoXLR, and about some of the similarities, some of the differences.
Yeah. The pros and cons, things that frustrate us already. And this is the GoXLR we're talking about, which I really love, and I've had some growing pains with it. And I either got to be okay with those pains and really find ways to prevent them, build moats to them, or I'm going to have to pivot and go to something else and give up some things. And I think the Wave XLR, what's great about that is that will allow me to do that and kind of really commit to what I'm willing to put up with.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? I don't know. We need to try this also because John and I we're getting into vMix a little bit, and this will give us some continuity with the audio issues as we go forward. Our camera issues are not a problem, but audio is always, I think, one of the biggest, trickiest things to deal with in this.
Yeah, well, especially for people that want to have like this uber control, which is like kind of like us, we kind of want to like control what we're talking about, what we're doing. And so we get into it a little bit more advanced than maybe some people. And so we
like granular control. We don't want to be tied down to something that we don't want or like.
Right. And so like another plus thing with this whole software that I like is you can go into your stream output. And this is right now going through my headphones, as you can see right here. But if I was to go click on this, no, right here, this is what I meant. You go to click on this down at the bottom. I can have the output go to a hardware change. So I can have this right here. I can have my Motu M2, which is another audio interface, guys. If you've never heard of the Motu, it's a great setup. It's been sold out for months and months, but this, I can go switch this. It's like a Scarlett 2i2 or Scarlett Solo, whatever. And I can automatically get my speakers to work because I got these great JBL speakers on here. And so if I want to switch to them, I have to click on that and then it will work. So these are the kinds of things that you have to iron out of having to like use this stuff. But I think what Jeff and I are talking about is trying to possibly find a MIDI controller, which in different terms means that you have to set up something with a slider to control these volumes that we have over here, like the browser, the sound effects, whatever we choose, our music. We want to use something that it goes to hardware where we can physically touch and have it on our desktop or under our desk. And I think you're going to see from the both of us that we're going to be testing some of that. So in incorporating it with the Wave software to have that physical touch and see where it grows and grows with this, because not only is this good info, it's going to make for good videos for people to learn more and more stuff too, I think so. Right? I mean, people are going to be looking for this type of stuff.
Yeah. There's going to be a need for some information on this stuff on a lot of different levels. John's killing it with transitions. The last one was nice. John's always killing things.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Look like a hacker.
There's so much stuff on the screen. You're like,
we got to come up with like a, Mr. X or something and kind of.
Yeah. I mean, I think if what you saw on the screen, what was going on is vMix. And I think if people saw how much is involved sometimes with the vmix. It's there's a lot going on, and I think if we want to tickle some people with some of the surprises, we could give them like a little glimpse of what we're working on. Maybe should we do that a little bit? And
right now,
granted, this has changed. This is like, granted, for you and I, this is going to change, but these will be used for like special prop times or.
Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah. If you, do it
so
out.
Like, this is going to be used for like, maybe our, first stream for vmix, or like just like a festive time. And we're going to have like different things. And this is my first, by the way, go at some overlays myself. So
do I need to put you up solo to make, here we go.
There I am. So
look at this guy.
This is the overlay that I have working right now. And along this, there's ways to make, the transition become active. And I haven't had that set up yet, but I can make this go all around. Like maybe I'll mess with it and show them really quick, Jeff.
Yeah.
Let me get into.
Let the hacker play.
I think this is it right here. And then this should set it off, hopefully, on the transition. Yeah. Oh, left. Basically, that would be me in there. I did it to your transition. So this is Jeff's.
I look good. I look like I've been working out.
Yeah. I was wondering, like, where did I go? And so I didn't read on the bottom.
That's awesome. Yeah. See, you can't, we need the little buttons.
Here it is. So this would be mine. And I don't know. It didn't work this time.
Animation. Is that what you're trying to do? Or are you looking at the new blow, the new confetti?
Let me see. There it is.
There we go.
I got it working. So this would be now. Listen, guys, I get it. This is super busy looking and everything.
I mean, I love it, but I mean, I do feel like a drug deal's going down outside our doors. But I mean, that's kind of our vibe. So
I thought it was just we might use this for like a holiday or just like a fun time, and I'll be keeping these. And this was my first go at doing my own overlays, so I pretty much put this all together, and we'll see where it goes from here. I'm going to keep on doing a couple different things that will be more custom to us in general, and
I'm excited for it, and I like that we're going to tap into doing our own overlays. I want to help too when we get to it if you want my help. But you're doing very well with it, and there's something to be said for just playing with it to get an idea of what's happening sometimes, to be able to convey what is it you want out of something. So that's kind of cool. But I thought what you did is great, and we're gonna have a great time with that when we
and that may be a live stream that I might be doing soon, which is to show people in Canva how to make your own overlay like that. So
sure, absolutely. Aaron asked, are you guys going to get the new Stream Deck? I have the old one, and it's more than enough for me, but what about you?
Well, Jeff, you didn't get a Stream Deck yet, so you're going to be privy to the new Stream Deck, which I'm jealous. I almost contemplated taking mine back since it's only like 2 weeks old, but I was like,
happy with this, sir.
Just because of the matching hole factor too and everything. Yeah. But I have the old one because I just literally bought this, I think now 4 weeks ago. And I'm fine with it. I'm going to keep it for now. And I only think
they always do this crap to you. That's like,
oh yeah. I mean, but the thing is, I needed it. I wanted it. I love the Stream Deck when you're streaming. It's fantastic. And when I upgrade to the bigger one, of course, then I'll be able to get the new look, or I don't know if they do that with the big one too, but the face detaches and then you could like have a custom face.
So the face detaches on this. So got that going for it. So they've already set that up.
So you can have the face detach on the Wave XLR, and then you can have the face detach on your Stream Decks next to it, and then they will match, which looks really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're into that.
I am. I think that's kind of cool. And
I think it's cool.
I don't know that I return my Stream Deck, but I'm glad that I don't have one yet. Although I think that's coming up here, like maybe in August, I'm going to have to get mine, especially with vMix and all. I want to have a little bit more flow. Yeah. And maybe, I don't know. I don't know. I was going to say, I don't know what Stream Deck could really offer to me to push some of the stuff from this Elgato Wave maybe over the top. I think most of it's going to be more in a MIDI controller. with sliders. I really think, and of course we know where we're going with that, and so that's going to be probably the next, maybe sooner than later. I probably should have just kept mine, but whatever, I'll get it. Be fine. Yes, it is sweet. I think it's going to be really cool that we can change those things. Really. Yes, he is the coolest kid in here.
I just I don't know. I don't know where this is going to go with this wave, but I'm just hoping that some of the updates, ironing out some of the software things kind of fly cool together. I'm hoping that I get comfortable with it and I could use it for what it is, because listen, there's nothing better when you're doing a podcast or you're having multi XLR mics, the Rodecaster Pro software, the built-in processing is amazing. But and you could hook up 4 mics at one time. You could put an SD card in there and record mobily, so I could basically take a USB power bank, take my Rodecaster and sit down with mics and power it with that USB power bank and do a podcast. And so, and if I want to add 2 cameras to it with 2 different views, then you could do that and just record and bring those cameras in multi-view, and you're basically recording a live, podcast.
Yeah.
Which is like
I'm just laughing
impressive.
at this. I'm sorry. And I love that she's like trying to she's like, I left him out, and then I got the AJ Smith.
You got the AJ. I told you. You're changing your name again.
Don't feel bad, Marlene. We're laughing at that because I just don't care. I think it's funny. Yeah, I should just change my name again. And I just tell people, just call me Jay. You don't have to call me Jay. Just call me Jay. Just make it one long thing. And I appreciate that. I feel the love. Are
you going to change it to Jeff Smith?
No.
No. He's like, no.
Good luck with that. That's not going to work out. I think I should just go down to 1 letter at some point, just say J and just leave it. It's probably what I'll do, but just, it's okay for now. I'll just kind of sneak the lay, make it smaller and smaller until people don't see it any longer. It'll be fun. It's gone. I still have high hopes for the way. I just know out of the gate, because I have the XLR. That's a tough one.
I think you might have an easier learning curve with the Wave, just because I think there's more similarities to the software with the GoXLR.
I think so. It was interesting to look at what you're dealing with there, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's a lot of the same stuff. The only thing that will make it hard for me, and maybe for you too, is just I don't want the sliders, but I think that can be overcome. But I think we need to maximize what we can do with this first to really see if it's worth going down that rabbit hole. I kind of think it might be. I think it has a lot of upside.
I think it has tremendous upside.
Mm-hmm. So we're gonna play with that and kind of see where that goes. And I don't know. I'm excited.
Yeah, just like everything else.
Just like everything else, and then I'll get a ZV-10.
I mean, it's like another. I've been looking at the Camlink Pro. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it's another thing to play with. But I'll see if I can. I'll pull it up. I'm just laughing because it's never ending. You know what I mean? So,
oh no, it's not ever ending. And, that's the thing. At some point, you're like, just give me the sub. No, don't. Oops. Don't worry about it. It's we're more laughing at a conversation we had about it, not that you, because everybody does it and it's okay. I kind of at this point, it's almost become a cool thing because everybody's doing it. So don't worry about it.
So I would definitely be waiting for if I was going to make any move on this, it would be something that I would pretty much wait till Black Friday.
Yeah.
But let me show you. I'm going to show my screen in a sec. See, and this is the difficult thing, Jeff, because since I have 2 softwares open, which is your StreamYard and this vMix, I have to toggle what's on my screen so I can show you guys. But I'm going to show you really quick what this is. Just give me a sec. Okay. Is that on my screen? No, it's not, right?
No.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah. We're used to this.
Let me get that. Now you see it.
There we go. We're good.
Okay, so this is the CamLink Pro. So this is a PCI card that goes into your computer, and you have basically, it's almost like they string together 4 cam links. But besides this being just 4 separate cam links, which, you know, basically like an A10 mini, I can only pull in one view of everything. So the view would be the one choice of whatever it is that matter. And oh yeah, I can't use that, can I? So like I've been having an issue where I want to have my separate videos show here. And if you look here, if I have this CamLink Pro, I could take this overlay picture from my camera 1, put it on the overall scene, and just move this camera anywhere I want. And I think like when it comes to doing like any tutorial stuff or overview stuff, it's pretty amazing. And then you can have like setups that are built into the software where you can automatically pick 2 cameras and have a side by side of whatever cameras you pick, or a picture in picture, or a triple, or a quad for that matter. So I just think that there's so many great things about this, that it does integrate with the Stream Deck. So those profiles that you see here, where if you do a side-by-side image or a triple, you can set those profiles, not a profile, but you can set that button to be a 2 or a 1. And so you could toggle back and forth and use this as literally a switcher with that setup. And then being that it's built into your computer has to be, you know, somewhat powerful to run this, but along the way, it's taking any kind of power or effort away from your video card, which it could be a benefit to a lot of people when you look at it like that. So yeah, so that's it. So what do you think of that?
Me, I've looked at that, and it's one of the reasons, and there's a couple of reasons. I'm working off a really nice laptop, but I think I'm going to have to build a desktop, and that was something that I thought I'd like to put in. It's not cheap, but I think it's worth it.
It's not cheap, and there were some people were talking about a little bit of a slow latency change on the camera switch, but that wasn't being affected on anything. And I think that might have to do also with people's builds. So if they don't have if they don't have a newer computer that can handle the speed and the traffic with the updated, you know, motherboard, it could be a little strain on it, even if it's something that's like 2 years old.
Yeah, I mean, if you're putting in that unit in a 10-year-old Dell, you're going to have a problem.
It won't work. Yeah,
it's just not going to work. You're going to need something recent that's running some pretty good threads.
Yeah, you're going to need multi-thread CPUs. You're going to need, you know, some extra memory would definitely help with that. But the thing is, the newer AMD motherboards, they have the ability, they got PCI 16 slots where the information travels at a much greater bit rate, and to be able to transfer, because you're basically streaming in 4 full-time things. Whereas if I'm using my A10 mini that I have, it's one scene at a time that I have to switch through.
That's the downer of that, is the one scene switch.
Yeah, but and I don't want to downplay an A10 because it does so much more than that.
It's great. I'm just saying that if that's one, I don't even call it a negative. It's just what it is.
It is what it is, right?
It is what it is. So it's a great unit. So it's not like,
because if you're using this as like a work basis where you're taking out a mobile thing, so you would take your A10 mini and your Rodecaster out, and then it's like, it's a huge plus. You know, you could do so much with what you have. Having an ATEM, which is this switcher here, and I can go through the scenes and be able to give you a couple scenes right off the bat. But here's the thing. I took my solo scene of me out, which is this, and now it's blank. And the reason I did that, which is my front picture, is because I used a cam link and I pulled this in right here. And the reason I did that is because with the software of vMix that I'm using, I have the ability to take this main picture and take it anywhere on the screen like I was showing you. And if I get that cam link Pro, I could do that same thing, which is, listen, it's not like it's like I have to have it, but it would make tutorials and everything else much more interesting. You know what I'm saying?
I do. Yeah. Now maybe I'll just go get a Digistore makes a really good DaVinci box. I don't know if you've gone through Digistorm's computers that are specific to DaVinci.
Oh, I have actually.
Pretty nice units, honestly. But that's the whole thing right now. Is like I would love to build something with all the other things I need, but then we have this issue with motherboards and stuff. I'm like, I'll see where this kind of plays out right now. But I like that idea. I've always liked the idea of the 4 on board and just sharing those resources or offloading. I wasn't in a position to get it. My computer would never been able to leverage that, the other desktop that I had. So
right.
Get it.
I don't know. It's a thought for me. And still, I wouldn't get rid of the ATEM because pair that with the Rodecaster. I have a multi-switcher with a mobile unit with, when I use my Hollyland 300 Pro wireless HDMI with 2 other cameras, I can have a mobile roving unit with 2 steady camera, like with 2 fixed camera angles. And I could have 3 pictures and I can use the ATEM to switch, and that could be all done mobily with the Rodecaster. So
yeah, it's a production unit. It's a production truck at that point. You know,
it's right. And am I going to need that? I don't know, because I just started doing all this stuff a year ago, and I'm just thinking on that kind of level, I could make some good coin off of that type of setup.
Well, yeah, especially if we're going to go right back into some more of these mandates and people have to lock up and sell their ideas and their businesses from a more remote setup. You might be able to figure something out where you could do that. But
that would actually be probably a good video if I went over how to set that whole thing up, wouldn't it?
Yeah, an A to Z on that would be pretty informational. Crap.
Yeah.
Aaron, I will hold my horses for the new laptop purchase. I need the computer to have at least Thunderbolt 3, of course. AMD doesn't have too many motherboard options with Thunderbolt currently.
No, because that's really a Mac thing. Everybody else is using USB-C.
Yeah, so Thunderbolt 3 would be a Mac.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I think the transfer speed is much greater on the Thunderbolt, but I don't think the feeling I get out of it is I think the transfer speed is like 40 gigs per second on a Thunderbolt, if I'm not mistaken, where a USB 3 is like 15. So my question is, though, I mean, if he's got something, then he wants to make sure it all kind of fits together. But yeah. I don't need, listen, it would be great to have that speed, but it doesn't make or break for me, because most of the softwares and the other factors can't even handle that speed at this point. So
it's not being utilized for most applications.
Even if you you say you want to buy a hard drive that can incorporate with that too, then it's like that hard drive is super expensive, So like everything becomes following your best features in your PC. It's kind of like, listen, I'll give you a perfect example. You buy a high-end camera that has a 10-bit, intake like my EOS R. And if you want to use that 10-bit, then you have to go and buy a SD card that can handle like 250 megabytes per second coming in versus maybe like 100 on your M50.
Yeah, it's like, where's your bottleneck going to come? And how much money do you have to pay for it?
Right. That's the thing. That's what it always comes down to, Jeff, right? How much money do you have?
We can clear that out. We can fix your little bottleneck. How much money do you got there? The new CalDigit 3, it's all interconnected with the CalDigit. I don't know really that much about CalDigit, honestly.
I know the name and I know about it, but I've never used it, and I don't have to, I haven't never incorporated any of it. So I'm not a Mac guy. I've had a Mac before for years, but it's not like, it's the same scenario. A lot of times I like to use a PC, but just because a lot more things that are put out by the gaming side and everything else is much more compatible most of the time. Not always, but some of the time. And it always seems like the Mac people get left behind for them to catch up with the software side of those companies.
Yeah, and usually at a price. Unfortunately, seems like they are going to pay that price to get that. It's just the way it is. Now granted, I mean, they're working off to some really sweet setups, so that
but that M1,
yeah,
for the money an M1 can do is pretty impressive.
Yeah, it might be the way to go. He says, guys, I don't have a Mac. I have an Asus with Thunderbolt.
Asus, yeah, with a Thunderbolt. So then he's right. So it's still a fact though. Like that's probably a rarity for a lot of that stuff. And I don't know. Yeah. Let me just check. I want to see what the speed is, if I'm even in the right realm sometimes of dropping, because I try to go off my memory sometimes.
Aaron, are you looking to get a Mac or get I'm just curious. Are you looking to get a Mac?
No, he just wants to make sure he has Thunderbolt.
Oh,
yeah. So believe it or not, which is, well, actually, I wouldn't usually say it unless I thought I was in the right realm. But if you, oh Jesus, how many pop-ups are we gonna have?
A lot.
So a Thunderbolt 3 is 40 gigs per second, like I said. A Thunderbolt 2 is 20, and a regular Thunderbolt is 10. So if you look at it now, I was incorrect with the USB 3. It's 5 gigabytes per second. And I thought it was 15. So you're looking at just a regular Thunderbolt. It would be double the USB 3 thing. So relatively speaking, I just don't think that everything can keep up with even that. I don't even think everything, like we're not even having everything keep up with a regular USB 3. And so I don't think most people would need more than that.
Yeah, you hate for people, I just worry that people are going to spend all that money, and then again, they're not going to be able to leverage it.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is like people don't realize the difference of like a USB 2 to a USB 3. When you make that jump from a USB 2 device, and this is what people don't realize, like when they were hooking their cameras in to any kind of software, right, to use them, the reason your picture is downgraded is because a USB 2 can only process through 480 megabytes per second. So that's that's approximately a half a gigabyte. And then once you go USB 3, it goes to 5 megabytes. So it's literally about 9 to 10 times faster. And so that's why, you're never going to have that quality with a USB 2 product. But there's, everybody thinks like simple things are just simple answers. I recently had someone come to me that we know and said, hey, I'm looking for a monitor to do a dual display with my iMac. So I thought about it. I'm like, okay, let me check this out, simple question. And then my thought was like, oh my God, I got to make sure that this person have a 4K monitor or they don't. And so, I went back, I asked, okay, do you have a 4K monitor? And so I automatically she said yes. And I was like, okay, well then I have to change my products that I'm showing you, because you don't want to have one monitor show up 4K Retina and then the other monitor not have the same resolution. So this way, when you drag stuff over, you're going to have issues. And so automatically that just drove the price up at least 50%. But if you don't ask these questions and someone, you go and give them something, then right away you got something that's not going to work side by side. And so a simple question can become a little confusing sometimes.
Yeah. And I just want to say, I do that a lot too, Aaron, just straight from the PC. I think John does too. If you can, and it works out, that's always the fastest way for that flow, right? Just go right from the camera to OBS. Now you don't need obviously a Thunderbolt 3 for that. I don't think that's really going to help anything, but I don't think that's really what you're asking anyway.
Well, if he knows what he wants, I don't have anything against that, because listen, we have all gone there. We're not really like at this point, but like you want that thing, and and maybe it's not being used 100%. So I get it. So if he wants what he wants, that's there's no issue with that.
Look, everybody has their flow and what they're trying to do, and it's very difficult sometimes because we all don't see each other's gear really and laid out to see it all, and
or our flow, right?
Or the flow. And I'm always interested in flow, especially when it comes to the editing process, because that's something that I really have been trying to streamline as much as I can. And one of the things I did, Aaron, was exactly like you, which I think is great. If you can get it and just dump it all in the OBS and take that out of it, wow, that's a great way to go. Which is one of the reasons I like having my laptop as a mobile recording device, because I can just take it anywhere easily. And if I want to set it up as kind of a
Then my question is for him too, Aaron, I just want to make sure, are you confusing USB-C with Thunderbolt? That was just popped into my head. So I want you to realize, like, if you look at
they look the same.
This connection right here, which goes into like a I have to hide my eyes.
Yeah.
That's a USB-C connection, which is like the same connection as a Thunderbolt, but they're totally different speeds. So I'm just wondering.
And a lot of people do confuse them. So it's not.
Because Thunderbolt, unusual. A basic Thunderbolt, like I was saying, does 10 gigs. Right. It would be a USB-C 3.1. That's what it's called. So you have USB 3, and then the Type C connector is a USB 3.1. I actually have my USB 3 docking station up here, which gives power also for charging everything, plugged into a USB-C on the back of my computer. So I have a USB-C 3.1 on my motherboard.
Yeah, I definitely want to have those. Real quick, I want to say hi to Tracy. Good morning.
Tracy, what's going on?
Still morning over there. Getting your coffee on and getting ready to, I don't know if you're getting ready to craft or not, but
wow, no, it's almost 11:30 for them. So
well, you're at noon.
Yeah, it's almost time for lunch for these people. They've probably been up for hours.
They're hungry. They already had 3 coffees. Good to see you, Tracy. I thank you for stopping and saying hi. I love your guys' crafts. It's really been fun to watch and see. Christmas stuff really still kind of fun. Everything is interconnected through the Cal Digit. That's pretty much the only reason. Okay. So Rodecaster, extra monitor, camera, SSD, Stream Deck, and the Thunderbolt 3 feeds everything to the computer. Oh, that's like a dock almost.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that's a Thunderbolt connection. They call it a Thunderbolt 3 Cal Digit. But what you're getting out of your computer, is that true Thunderbolt or is that USB-C?
Yeah,
there's a difference.
It'll work with a C
absolutely
connection. It'll just dial down just like a USB 2, USB 3 connection, right? I do wonder, like, do you really have Thunderbolt built into what you're doing? Because you're what he's saying, okay, he's got a Thunderbolt 3 potential with this feed, so he wants to have that as an option to receive that speed in his computer.
Okay. So let me show you something here, really quick.
Yeah, he says true Thunderbolt. So if he's got a okay.
Well, Thunderbolt's a Mac name, so it's
throwing me a little.
It wouldn't be true Thunderbolt. It would be exactly what I said, which is it's USB. And here I made a mistake actually too. It would be USB-C 3.1, like I said.
Yeah.
But what I didn't know is that the 3.1 actually travels at 10 gigabytes.
Okay, I did recently, as I was buying external drives, run into that.
So you can't. I'm not on here. Hold on 1 second. I want to show you this really quick because I have it up on the screen. So just give me a second, because you're going to see all this corny stuff. But then I want to show you this.
Oh, it's so corny.
Here you go. So if you go here, this shows you the speeds of everything. But this is a US Type C. So when you talk PC, it's going to be a USB 3.1 C. And then if you go to a Mac, then I think they call it a Thunderbolt. Maybe it even says here exactly. Wrong. Use the chart below to get your head around USB speeds, and then we'll talk about USB Type-C and Thunderbolt. See, there's definitely a difference of each. This is actually probably something good to go through for everybody because, to be honest with you, a lot of people don't even know these differences. So this would be interesting. And then like I said, when you go Thunderbolt 3, which is the new one, you're getting 40 gigs. So if he's just going straight up Thunderbolt and it's not 3, because I don't believe that PCs come with Thunderbolt. Like, am I wrong? Maybe I'm wrong.
Give me 1 second here. Championed by Apple, Intel's Thunderbolt technology has been around since 2009. Thunderbolt 3 showed up in Macs in 2016. USB-C emerged as the newest USB connector, complemented by blah, blah, blah. Didn't really say there. But the move to USB-C allowed Thunderbolt 3 to expand from Apple devices. So it's pretty much what you're saying. They're the same connection, but you're going to get different throughputs.
Right. And it doesn't matter because if he's got Thunderbolt, that's 10 gigs. So it would equal exactly what a USB-C 3.1 would be. And then if he had a Thunderbolt 3 connection, then it would go to 40 gigs. So he's got, I think he put up I'm going to copy and paste. He put up the motherboard or the product link right here. So I'm going to check it.
Well, yeah, it is an Intel. And in fact, that's what Brian Paul jumped in and said, yeah, Thunderbolt was developed between Apple and Intel, which is what I do know that. But he does say some PCs do have Thunderbolt. And I guess let's just check. So this would be, what is this right here? This is motherboard here?
Yeah, it's his PC, which I'm looking at the specs right
now. Okay, thanks. Yeah, check that out.
Yeah, so it says Type-C, 3.1 Type-C. It doesn't say. Oh, what does it say here? It does. What does it say here? It says 1 Thunderbolt 3. Oh,
there you
does.
Go. There you go. Aaron wins.
Aaron,
give him some confetti.
Yeah, to be honest with you, this is new information for me. So this is
why
cool.
we show up. This is why we show up to learn something.
He's got a Thunderbolt 3 on here, which I think is hugely in ahead of the curve.
That's massive. Massive.
I wouldn't stress if you had a Thunderbolt 3, but because then he's got, on top of that, he's got one Gen 2, which is what I have, USB 3.1 Type-C connector, which is the 10 gigabytes per second. So he does have one Thunderbolt connection on there. So I want to ask you, like, when you do these transfer speeds of anything you're using with that Thunderbolt connection, have you ever looked at what those speeds are?
This is true,
Thunderbolt 3 and 3.1 share a connector.
But the speed is different.
Yeah, but
isn't the Thunderbolt 3 much higher than 10?
Yes, the 3 is 40 gigs and the Type-C is 10 gigs. Yes, 10. huge difference in speeds. Yeah.
You said 10 to 10. I think that was an accident. You meant because earlier you had dropped 40 on the 3, but maybe unless you were talking about
the Thunderbolt 3 is 40 gigs.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But we were talking about
a regular Thunderbolt is 10 gigs.
The 2 is a display, right? In fact, Brian says the Thunderbolt 2 is a display port connection, not a USB-C. We're clearly going to have an education night on USB-Cs and Thunderbolts. This is a really interesting topic, I think.
Yeah,
it is. And I think it's changing pretty fast. That's why we are learning something new, which I love, by the way.
Yeah, that article that I was reading, actually, which was from B&H, showed all, and I wanted to show that too, because then it can show all the connectors, which is interesting, right? Because
good day, Giga Art. How are you doing? I believe Giga Art is from Melbourne.
Why don't you come back on the screen? Oh, there's Giga Art.
Yeah. I'm sorry about that.
Hi, Giga Art.
Good day, mates. Love that. I love hearing I can hear the accent in my head. It's so great you stopped in to say hi. Boy, I checked out Giga Art's channel the other day, and I realized how absolutely untalented I am at anything with art.
Brian was talking about Firewire, which was like
Oh
super
my
hot
God.
stuff back like in
I still
2001
have a
or something.
Firewire on a ProSonus 8-channel FP10 here I use for an interface. It still works, but you got to have the card for it, and it's hard to find.
Just for Brian's knowledge, that USB 2 is like a 480 megs like per second, which is like about a half a gig. The Firewire 800 is only like 3/4 of a gig. It's like,
yeah, it's not really. Back in the day, it was something, but
it was like the greatest thing.
Yep.
And then the USB 3 goes to 5 gigs, and then Thunderbolt is 10, Thunderbolt 2 is 20 gigs, and Thunderbolt 3 is 40 gigs. But
Brian says he has many Thunderbolt 2 drives. Yeah.
So, like, what is your speed, your transfer speed with this Thunderbolt? I want like you guys have this stuff. Have you ever measured the actual transfer speeds? And like, what would you need to get that full amount at that point?
Yeah, I know Brian. I mean, Brian and I have talked about externals, for example, and transfer speeds are a big deal. So I think he's got some experience there for sure. I think Aaron definitely knows what he's trying to do and get to. Because he is worried about 4K, and I totally get that.
I think he's future proofing.
He's future proofing, which I can totally appreciate.
Yeah, because if he wants to spend the money, he wants to get something that I think he's going to keep for a while, and so he's going to bite the bullet on price.
I mean, just even throwing my USB 3.1 with the SanDisk, the new extremes that are running like 1050 or something, like their speeds are really nice. It does make a difference. Like the transfer speeds are great. But I'm limited. I mean, there's only so much I'm going to get out of that.
Because I've measured my M.2 drives, and I'm getting, a lot.
Yeah, he's never measured, but he is future proofing literally, and I get that. And Brian does make a good point. Transfer speeds are deceptive because of where the file is situated on the platter goes faster or slower. The bottleneck is always the computer. It's true.
The platter on what? Because a regular hard drive, like an M.2 drive, doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, on an NV, what is it, NVE or whatever, you're not going to.
It's a solid state.
Yeah. So you wouldn't have a platter, but maybe he's just calling it.
Yeah, or he's maybe even talking about Windows filing system too, because that has the indexing has something to do with that too.
Educate us. When you mean platter, you're not saying on an old HDD drive. You're just he'll clear it up. But
I'm actually getting some really good speeds, and that was the purpose of it. And then I saw from what I saw, if you're getting like a 1,000 megabytes per second on an external, that's pretty darn good. And once you start like getting more than that, and I've talked about this a few weeks ago, then you really jump up in price. Like the price is incredible. And sometimes what you don't realize is if you buy these acceptable priced hard drives, they can move. They have a limit. And I talked about this a few weeks ago. They have a limited amount of cache on the drive itself. So if you're trying to move 20 gigs, by the time you pass the 5 gigs, your literal transfer speed will start dropping like a rock.
The rule of thumb on that is to keep your hard drive half full only. So you never want to, sadly, you never want your SSD, especially your OS, you never want that past half full, whatever that is. If you have a gig, you don't want,
but it's not even just that. It's also what I'm saying here is like if the cache is not big,
that will slow you down, man. I mean, just saying.
Oh yeah, that will slow you down. But the cache, you can have a bigger drive, but I'm talking about chunks. If you're taking like for me, none of my stuff, none of my individual single files are relatively that big.
Yeah.
I would never be taking like a video of one file that's 20 gigs. So if I'm looking for a drive that I'm just taking like 6 or 10 videos of me like recording something, and let's say they were 1 gig each, just to make it simple, then those chunks that are so small never over exceed the cache and stress it out. So a cheaper hard drive with a small cache on it at that transfer speed can legitimately send those things. But then once you try to send over a 20 gig, that's when it stresses these things out.
Hard drives are something, and people, they're confusing, and I think people really don't know, and they think they're getting something and they're not, because the fine details of a hard drive are important. And I'm laughing, but I get it. Brian says I haven't had an internal SSD, and it's so massive, the difference between what you're going to see in anything with an SSD and an HDD. I have a sad face for you, because you probably, all of us, could probably use that SSD for what you were trying to do. Brian has hundreds of files, 10 gig plus. So
easily, I'm sure.
Yeah. And, you know, I'm just going to pop this in here because we are all coffee people.
I had my coffee earlier.
You know, I had mine with of course, I have to live vicariously through his logo because I don't have mine.
But then I had my water in here.
You couldn't even be bothered to have a coffee talk water bottle.
I had a coworker at work wearing my shirt at work. Isn't that nice?
It's kind of freaky, isn't it?
It was kind of cool to see. My coworker actually went out there, bought the shirt. She wears it to work, and she tells everybody at work that this is John's YouTube.
I love it. I love it. My current computer's 2000. It is nice. 2016. I tend to keep my gear full. I'm the same way. I think John too. If you do it right, you can really keep these things a long time. That's where the desktop to me has the advantage. Yes, I can go in and do some minor things with a laptop, but to be honest with you, once you've replaced your hard drives and maybe some RAM if you wanted, there's limits. I mean, there's only so much you can really do.
And that's like what he's doing. What Aaron's doing is like what I'm doing. Not sometimes, always, if you're building out a computer, it's better off that you spend a little bit of extra money on the motherboard. And this way, it future dates what processors are accepted in there and what RAM speeds are accepted, and et cetera, et cetera. So now when I have the computer I built last year, I'll be able to go 2 extended generations of CPUs from the Ryzen platform. So I'm not that guy, Aaron. Like, I'm not going to build out a new computer, but when the CPU gets to be somewheres in the range of at least 50% of a upgrade for me, then it'll be something I may look at getting, and I just get the CPU, and replace it in my computer, and I could sell the old one. But the thing is, I'm not that guy that's going to go and replace it if I'm just getting like a 20% upgrade. It's not worth it.
It's really not worth it then.
No. And then you're always paying the high price because you're still like, that's very new.
There's so much things to be done and money that we could spend forever that it's nice to kind of nail down a unit like you want to do, Aaron, and just kind of ride it as long as you can. I'm going to ride the 6400 like you with the 6000.
I would too. After I saw that come out though, Jeff, today, that camera, I was like, Jeff got the right camera.
Yeah. At first I was like, oh, you know how you get all sucked into everything, right? I looked at the promo, and then I looked at some more, and then I started looking at comparisons, and I'm like, yeah, I'm happy. I think I got the right camera for what I need at this moment for me.
I feel like you did, because I remember you saying, not only do I want to have a good video camera, I wanted to have a good camera for taking pictures. Yeah. And so I was like, you want a viewfinder. You want to be able to have a nice, strong, metal body.
I wanted something strong. I didn't want plasticky. I don't mind having a second camera for that's light, that's portable, that does what the Z1, for example, will do. Or the Z10, either one. I'm cool with that, but I want to have my foundation camera needs to be a little bit more medium.
And I was like, I watched multiple videos on it. I watched, Sony's video write up about it. It came out, and I was like, yeah, this is all cool. If you're buying just your first camera and your intentions, like, listen, if you're a photography person, I wouldn't suggest this camera to somebody, but if you're strictly photography or heavy on the photography side, but for you, what you wanted, and I remember us discussing this, like, I said to myself, Jeff, like, he shouldn't feel bad. He got the right camera.
Yeah. I was like, we always do that. First you're like, wonder, but then I'm like, when you blow past those first impressions and you start to really think about it, I'm like, no, I have zero regrets. Yeah. about this path. And what this does do instead is go, this gives me another opportunity or another option when I decide to grab that second Go rig. And I think like a Go 7 rig is great for something, but it's a little different purpose. So I think both of them are ideal and needed. But I just think for the second camera, for a second shot in a Go, I love the idea of those cameras or a Canon, but maybe probably the Z1 or 10 would be the way to go. And Brian says he's wearing his Coffee Talk shirt right now.
Awesome. I love that.
2 people. Oh my God. I cannot believe it. Yeah.
2 people want my shirt.
I gotta buy a shirt. I have to do that.
I'm only kidding.
No, I would be fun. Blackmagic Disc Speed Test thinks my Thunderbolt 3 RAID is 2035 write, 1880 read right now for ProRes 422. So he's using that ProRes 422. Got that. Well, what do we think about that? 2035.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean,
with my M.2, I'm getting a write speed of about 3,000, and I'm getting a read speed of about 34.
I haven't done it. Is the Blackmagic? Where can I get that speed test app?
What did I down? I have to check.
Is that a free download or I got to buy it?
Yeah, it was a free download. It just was something I forget what I actually looked up.
I know I've seen it. I've been through their sites looking at the studio thing. That's my.
I think nah, it probably wasn't that. I was going to say Sysandra, where they test everything and there was individual speeds, but I don't think it was that. It was like a strictly an app just for that. I can't remember.
Oh, okay.
Because the first thing I did was like, okay, let's just people talk about this. And even with these M.2 hard drives, they basically look like a little stick of memory, and they slide right into your computer. And they've started using them a couple of years ago.
Yeah, the NVE PCI or whatever they
right. And the MV2, and then they have the M.2s, and they're all different speeds. So you can go and get one, and it's not necessarily much faster or as fast as a regular SSD. So if you're going to go and spend the money on one, you might as well spend the money on one that's going to be like much more efficient for the price. And so that's why I looked for the right thing to buy, which wasn't the top price one, but I've had very good luck with a lot of PNY products, and they do a good job, and they basically use a lot of Samsung's products and chips and everything they do with memory.
I've been fine with them over the years. I haven't had anything really go wonky with them.
Yeah. And so I bought their M.2s with their fastest ones, and they've been rock solid. I haven't had a problem with them from day one. So
yeah, I may upgrade mine in this laptop actually. As you keep trying to push the limits of these things, man. But the 6400 quality jump is easy perceptible from the image I'm getting in the phone right now. Well, that's good to hear. I'm really, again, I haven't really had to tweak too much out of it. This is kind of out of the box.
Yeah, I see that too.
Yeah, I'm really happy to hear that, and I appreciate that. I don't have any experience with the 6000, so I don't know enough. I know that my 5100 is not even in the same world, but I appreciate what it taught me. Aaron wants hats, so
there's hats there. Go check them out. I have a winter hat in there, and I changed it. In the beginning, I was a little clueless at how to set it up now, but it will look much more easily to be able to scroll through everything. And you could just hit the button at the bottom that says all products, or you can just go into sections now. It's a lot better. I apologize for how I set it up. I was clueless at doing this.
Well, we're learning.
Yeah, I learned now. So yeah, there's the winter hats, and I have caps also.
It says it's free with their desktop software.
Okay. What is?
The speed test from Blackmagic.
Okay. Yeah, you can get there's other apps out there though for free. They'll test it. It was pretty cool stuff. I can't remember what I used.
Now, Brian and I have talked. Oh, go ahead.
Thank you. Go ahead. Brian, Aaron's trying to hint and I don't listen. That's why.
Share the link, please.
He's basically leading me on, and I still don't get it, right?
I think he was trying to. I think he was trying to get you to do.
Probably trying to help me out, and
he's like, "You idiot! Just can you not?"
Right. pretty much trying to say that. And like, I don't get it because I'm not good at selling myself.
Get your link. Brian and I had a discussion about raids as I was looking into flows and processes for all this and the deep end, right? The end game. I fell into Peter McKinnon's discussion about him losing stuff and finally getting a raid. And I thought that's a great raid. And I looked it up. I'm like, it's almost $3,500. I'm going to pass on that.
Well, you got to realize, right? His stuff is big time.
Oh, so. I mean, he needs it for clients and big dollars. You can make your own raid if you really want. You can grab and what Brian's saying is it's platter drive. Well, look, if it's long-term storage, it really doesn't matter. You can just go to bed at night and send stuff over and then let the raids do their thing. It doesn't really matter at that point. I mean, what matters, you have something. And I'm not going to go out and get a whole huge raid system right now. You could put a couple drives together and make one pretty quick. I could make one out of a desktop. It's fine. I've got a bunch of drives laying around. So, my bored weekends, I could always do that.
I remember being a kid and I was always looking at the raid speeds and that was interesting to me. And I was like, I don't care about backing up anything. I just want to have a raid to go everything to fly faster.
And the truth of it is I don't really need a raid. Although the more I think about it, it's like, God, we do have a lot of personal old, like our files from taxes to old photos kind of sitting on a.
Yeah, but then just buy an external.
I have an external, but those die.
Yeah, but what I do is like, when it comes to a certain amount of years, because I don't use like my externals that much. I have an external with a 72.
I've had drives die in 6 months.
I have a mechanical. Yes, I understand, but I have a mechanical drive that I barely have used, and it's in an enclosure, literally 20 years old, and it still works. I have like 100 gigs of music on it.
Oh yeah, from your
20 year, from my Napster
days. Napster days.
It was Napster, and then I went and got right after Napster went down, I got this app, and I can't remember what it was, but it let you into all. Well, God, I can't even remember what it was. It was this app that basically connected you to everybody else's like backdoor forums across the world.
Yeah. But that ended up being it was shared files. It was basically everybody's using their hard. Was it, talking about where we were sharing the hard drives, everybody to go out and grab software? What was that called?
I can't remember what it was. It was
That's going to drive me absolutely crazy, man.
No one knew. None of my friends knew about it. Everybody knew like the common things.
I knew about it, but
but you might be using. It wasn't your typical BitTorrent. It wasn't any of the ones that you would ever know. And I can't remember. I have to try to figure it out if I have it downloaded somewhere and I can remember the name. Nobody I knew was using it. And it was basically, I was going in and just downloading tons of movies and this and that and everything. I would run that freaking computer 24/7.
Yeah. The BitTorrent stuff. Boy, yeah, that's a good way to get your your little Napster stuff all figured out, your movies. I remember people were downloading all sorts of movies that were barely out at the movie theater. And
yes,
it was a whole deal. And software, of course, because none of us kids could afford $3,000 softwares. And
it wasn't the same stuff, Bri. Like, you know how like Pirate Bay and stuff, it was nothing like that. No, you actually had to go in and qualify to get into these people's hard drives, and you have to like know them, and then they would let you in, and they were like all across the world, and they would let you. It was like the interface was so simplistic, and then it would just be, you'd have to set. I wish I could remember it. It's coming to me. DC++, and you probably don't know it. That's it. Did you ever hear of it?
I don't know DC++. No.
Yeah, that's what it was called. DC++.
You
plus.
Yeah, you have looked it up. It's a redundant array of independent disk. So what it is a redundancy, Aaron. So, we back up our stuff on one disk, but that disk could die. So we can do it in a couple disks, or you can do it in a set of how many disks you want, but 6 is a great one. You can actually keep, if 2 disks die, if you set it up right, your very, very important data would be preserved because they're constantly mirroring each other and being redundant. So That's a very simple way of putting that. But yeah, for people who really cannot afford to lose information, which look, no one's going to care about my little YouTube channel stuff, but I don't want to lose stuff. But you can set up Mir software to run on 2 external disks and or drives and do simple things, or just move stuff over once in a while to another drive. You know, that's save the money. I was just trying to find something. Oh, it'd be nice to set something up, but I'm like, oh, I'm not going to pay $3,000 for that. Thank you very much. Yeah, Brian stays away from the old BitTorrent stuff now.
DC++ is still around, people.
Is it really?
Yep. And that's from 20 years ago.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Literally 21 years ago. That's what I was using. It was called, actually, when you go into Google, one of the first things that says underneath is DC++ still around?
And it says, yes.
And it is. Yeah, that was an incredible.
The name of the brand. Are you talking about the Raid, you mean? The one from McKinnon was, oh my God, start with an I. Help me out. Brian, you'll know.
Yeah, these people get like built out RAID systems that are separate, that like are external. They have like a whole rack of them. That's what he probably has, right?
Oh, it's a 6 rack. It's like,
and then what is that he has extra drives that are copied, and then probably after a certain, like you said, after a certain amount of hours, he probably hot swaps them right out, and then this way his stuff is always backed up.
Yeah, and with a 6 like that, depending, the best way to do it for someone like him is to actually have redundancy of 2 drives failing or 2 things going on. So, you know, when you add that up with his hot swappables and his hard drives that are amazing, and then they're 15 terabits and all that, it's like comes to $3,000. Yeah, I can't remember the name, but it's like IO something. I can't off the top of my head. I think that if you go to Amazon and you type in RAID, it's going to be the most expensive one.
Yeah, he's big time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know what he paid, and for all I know, he got a deal from them.
Yeah, but these people this is what he does for a living. This is big money he gets. He can't have the affordability of losing that. But if you wanted to set up your own RAID system, I mean, you could do it on a budget easily.
Yeah, you can. You can do it internally in your drive. I mean, your drive, you want to set up partitions in a way, you can dread up some kind of fake one. That's kind of what I do. Now I don't do that because the drive could still fail. I do set up partitions on my drive, my C drive, just in case I have to overload the OC. I put all my data, everything goes on my D partition or another external. People should do more of that and stop putting things on their C drive so they can just restore that in 2 seconds if they need a fresh thing, but whatever. Brian, I looked at this one. I still wasn't going to spend the money on it. Promise Pegasus. That was a much better price.
I've heard of it.
I still passed on it. But yeah, I love the peace of mind of it. I just, like I said, if I have a external that's networked out as like a NAS sitting here, and that's great. I use it. All my computers connected to it. So I dump everything there and I can move it. That's where all my applications are saved. So I can just share across all my computers. I have 3. But at the end of the day, maybe just go through the cloud. I mean, that's not a bad thing. I mean, you can take everything and just kind of sync it up to one big ass cloud dump and let it sync from there every so often. It's fine.
It's true.
I don't know. And people give me I don't want to. I get it. It's fine. Have you guys looked at the jellyfish system? I don't even know what this is. Clue me in. What's a jellyfish system? I have no idea.
Is that a joke?
I don't know, man.
No,
It sounds like a joke. Jellyfish Raid?
The Jellyfish System by
the best NAS solution
Brian
for video
Paul.
teams. Is this going to be like a collaboration thing? Or it feels like more of a collaboration tool.
It's the Brian Paul Jellyfish.
Oh, I've
system.
I've seen the jellyfish used. Who was it? In fact, in the content management, the Kino that I'm using for my video management, they harp on the jellyfish quite a bit as a perfect NAS for their system. So kind of looks cool. What are we looking at here?
This is some guy that's called Aaron. on our that comes
Oh,
and visit us.
I'm like, what am I looking? I just look like paint cans. I wasn't like, what am I looking at here? Oh, I got a small screen. Oh, look at this. Let me pull all this up. There we go. The best language for YouTube. I couldn't even read that. Yeah, our subtitle is important. That's a good question.
His scene looks good though.
Yeah, he looks great. If that 6,000's going to be just fine. It looks really good, Aaron. Your whole setup.
Jeff,
looks
now
amazing.
do you hear that audio?
No, I don't. So
Okay,
you trying to?
That's StreamYard. So no matter what.
No kidding. That's stupid.
Yeah, so I'm using the Wavelink software and routing that right into me. And you can't hear it, and that's coming in through my stream output.
That's nuts. No, it's not coming through here. So
that's so weird. So that's the thing, right? Unless you share and use their thing, that's what makes it hard. That's why like it's going to be harder to use vMix, but when we get things down, it will be different, but it's not easy to use, but there's
Brian's like what's all that vidIQ stuff?
Yeah.
I don't know if he's kidding or if he's
that's how much hours of watch time this year. This is how much in the last 60 minutes. This is how much in the last 2 days.
It's amazing you can dissect people's stuff. It's kind of spooky in a way. But
I'm almost at 2,600 actually hours. So I'm almost there. Oh, let me switch.
Doing it, man. You're doing it.
Doing it.
Brian's going to have to get into vidIQ or something tubby. That is his current upload about his setup. I think I watched it before jumping on your live today. Awesome. I'll have to get over there. I like his look looks amazing. Yeah.
Come back and join me.
Is that? Oh, I'm sorry, man. Jeez, I wasn't looking. I was looking at comments. Is that on Aaron's video or is that yours? That's on our video. What do you mean? It's through. I don't know. What do you mean? It's through StreamYard. It's not. We didn't pull him in. I don't know.
No. That was Aaron. That was Aaron's YouTube video that came out today.
Yeah. So yeah, is that on Aaron's video or is that yours? So you just grabbed a screenshot of Windows.
Yeah. I just went to his channel really quick and just to show. He's got a nice
the OBS, which I don't know. Brian's gotten dipped into OBS much or not. I have to ask him.
I think he's working on it more and more. I'm actually going to do something. I'm actually going to do a live stream using probably OBS Ninja again.
Oh, good. Why?
Because I'm gonna use it for something else, and I just want to throw up something that will be,
that'd be cool.
Good information.
People like to hear that stuff. Well, guys, we hit 3 hours. I appreciate everybody jumping in here on the summer evening.
Believe it or not,
Believe
it or not, it felt like it went fast tonight.
I know. So I didn't expect to see you. And I looked up at the time. I'm like, really, 3 hours?
Yeah, I felt the same way. We talked a lot of cool stuff.
So Brian's legit confused now, and I can feel that with that question. And I was wondering, maybe can we quickly explain to him what you did? Maybe you could show him. I don't know if you could show him in your thing.
I just pulled up his YouTube channel. That's all, and then I shared the screen.
So basically, in OBS, Brian, you'll pull in. You can set up a scene, right? And
I just shared my screen. I shared my screen.
StreamYard. So StreamYard, you just did that, right?
Yeah, I went into my okay, so not everybody knows this, but first of all, in vMix, I can easily share my first display or my second display by just clicking, which is basically like I could show you guys this, which is my second screen. Okay. And then I could show my first screen. And these are all NDI inputs that I could just show, But what I did was I can either go here or I could go into my ATEM, just show my display, and I played Aaron's video from the display.
Right.
That's
or
all.
you can just go into StreamYard and hit share and then do share screen.
And yes, you can, which the audio will work if you click off the audio tab. But the thing is, you know, we go back to what we want all the time. And we want to not have to do what everybody, you know, like Stream Artist basically telling you, if you want everything to work right, go and use the share and go in and check off on the audio, and then everything will work properly. I would love to just be able to share my screen and play what you guys are seeing.
So I haven't used Restream. So can you guys do the Restream's latest update where you can bring in people onto your stream like what you did before, but all the comments from their individual channels can also be seen?
Yeah. So that's a brand new thing that Restream did last week. And so you could basically I could use it and go through vMix if I wanted to, and then I could pull in a couple of you guys, and then we could go in and then show all the comments also. And like I could like direct stream that out through vMix, or we can go into Restream and just do it there also. So you know, so it's the same thing as where you can use it as a virtual cam and pull people in. But yeah, so it shows, you could set it up so it shows their comments as they're streaming along. And what's cool is because like if it was you right now, you would be able to pull in my comments that were going from my YouTube channel that I'm streaming from. So the big, huge benefit that I could see there, Jeff, which is really cool. And I'm actually glad that Lala brought this up, because what's really cool about that is I believe, and I'm not sure, I'm not positive, I have to figure this out, but I think what can happen is that I could get hours for that stream because I'm streaming also, and you can.
Oh, really? Well, that would be very interesting.
Right? Because that's what I want to find out, but it's like, I'm not positive about that.
That would be really interesting though, that we could double up on our hours. That would be a game changer, like to double up those hours for people.
I just thought of that, you know, maybe I just thought of that, and I might be wrong, but that was something that I wanted. Yeah. Maybe it's, sometimes I forget because I hear about this stuff, Lala, same thing, like this new stuff. And then I'm like, wait, could Jeff and I do the stream and then just stream to our own channels? Right. And so that was the first thing that came into my head. So I might have like jumped the gun, and maybe that's not possible, but that's what came into my head when I noticed that Restream was doing this.
That would be really cool. And it'd be there would be some real reasons why that should be done in a collaborative effort. Why not allow people that are sharing the work here, let them have those hours if they want, and share the video the way they want or not. It'd be interesting. Maybe it can't be done, and maybe there's reasons why it shouldn't be.
I'm gonna look into that, because actually my first stream that I ever did, if you go to my page and under the lives, my first stream was using Restream. Okay. And so I used Restream first, and I wanted to see how it worked, because both of them are pushing each other to its limits. Yeah. And so one or the other is wanting to gain a little leverage. And so, you know, whatever.
I haven't been in it. I should dump into Restream, check it out.
Yeah. I mean, listen, they're both great products. I mean, there's no doubt about it. So
Brian said, "Oh my God, I'm a noob." We're all noobs at something. And you know what? If you know what, just you and I should just get together, or with John and I, and do a private thing and do some OBS stuff and set you up. So by the time you're done with Lita, you can, pull up your OBS, show you what you want, unless I'm missing what you mean by noob. Maybe you know all that stuff.
I say, enjoy the journey.
Enjoy that journey, my friend. And
it's fun.
It is fun. It's we'll look forward to your take on it. It's a bit confusing for me. I'm using Restream actually right now, but don't know how to do this latest update.
Yeah, so I have a free version with Restream, and I don't know if they offer that anymore, because that's what I signed up under. Yeah, so I haven't used it in like 8 months. So I'd have to go and see what they're still let me do in there. And that might be a paid version only too, Lala. So I don't know exactly what they offer to the free side. So I'd have to check. And my StreamYard that I use now is a lower version that I paid for. It was literally, I believe, $96 for the year is what I paid. And so, but a lot of people just use the free version, and that's fine too.
Yeah. I've got the paid for now, but we'll see. We'll see how long that goes. If I need, I wanted to play with the, all the stuff, and you have to pay to do that. And sometimes you just say, I stick with it, or you're like, it's not really worth it. I mean, put the logo back up. So it's probably not worth it, but we'll see. All right. Well, that's a good, you know what, Lala, if we dip into there, we'll let you know. I'd be curious about it. It sounds like a paid feature, maybe, but maybe they're trying to like just get it out there to everybody so they can get more traction. I don't know the numbers, but I feel like StreamYard's out ahead of them as far as the awareness game in the community.
Both offer a couple different things that are better and worse.
Yep, which is typical.
But they, because what I believe that's a huge plus for Restream is that you can actually reach out to up to 20 different platforms with streaming.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
As you're streaming to, multiple platforms plus LinkedIn plus your own maybe your own website, it can go up to a lot of different platforms. Maybe your church also, and this and that. So it's like it is a little bit more incredible with that, but I mean that would depend if you needed that, which most probably wouldn't. But there's benefits of both, and they're both like incredible products that we didn't have at our fingertips a couple of years ago. So
it's amazing. Just like the ZEV10. I don't even know.
Some weird name that makes no sense.
They're going to make something that's hard for people to remember. It's just going to end up being the Z10. Just name it the Z10. Stop screwing around. But they want that V for the vlogging in it. They can't let it go. And I do think it has something to do with not pissing off their more spendy, clientele that they want it to be that way. Anyway, we'll end with this. Mama says, okay, guys, thanks. We'll wait for both your takes. I like how you explain things. Oh, thank you. And
thank you. Appreciate the kind comment.
Yeah. I wish we had an answer for that. That would be a interesting thing to take. And we'll want to know at some point. So
yeah, it might be a good tip to go over. I actually saw Doc Rock and Kirk Nugget or something his name is. We're very similar to him, where it's like we're always messing around with the tech side and more stuff. And they go into everything. And it's kind of, I was watching them do a stream, and it was kind of reminding me of like a lot of things we do. Like we're always laughing with stuff, and the camera changes and things looking this way and
goofs.
It's
just
funny.
Goofy dudes. She says I have a pro account on Restream. I'm on Ecamm, but I use Restream, yes, to go out into multiple platforms at the same time, of course. Yeah, makes sense.
Yep.
You really have a lot under yourself. You really know a lot more than I think you give yourself credit, Lala.
She sure does.
You know what I mean? You've really worked it from A to Z and in the chain, and that's I respect that. That's really great. So for you to be here and still like what we have to say after all your knowledge is really awesome. Listen, guys, we're gonna go. We're gonna get people to bed, do their things, and Mama, you're gonna get on. You're gonna start doing some. Mommy's gonna start doing some great. Maybe you're gonna start doing some great crafts. I don't know. If not, I'll check you out in the morning, which would be your nighttime. Brian, Mr. Doma, Marlene.
Yeah, thanks for all stopping by.
Good people for stopping in. Of course, Aaron. Can't forget about Aaron. Aaron, I'll get in touch with you in the morning about a follow-up that I kind of dropped the ball on. Giga Art and Tracy and all. I appreciate everybody for stopping in tonight. And we'll see everybody. Well, maybe some of you on Thursday. Head over to John's channel at 9:00 Eastern and Coffee Talk and Tech. And we will pick up the conversation over there.
Slowly approaching 600 subscribers.
You are creeping on it.
It really took a jump in the last couple of days. So
fantastic.
I'm at 582. Great.
You are moving. You're going to get there really fast, my friend.
I hope.
You are. I feel it. I feel it coming.
It will come when it comes, right? That's it.
It will, but that's good. We'll get the confetti out and have a good time with it. All right, John, say goodnight. I'll let you go. And I will see you, sir, on Thursday at 9:00 your time. And to everybody else, I appreciate it. I'm going to let you guys head out of here. But thank you guys again so much. You know, we say it a lot. Thank you. But just know that's also heartfelt. You know, we don't say that without meaning it. Everybody that's here means a lot to me for the support so early on for what we're trying to do and where we're trying to go. And it's all going to add up to something quite amazing. I have no doubt. So with that, I want to say goodnight to everybody, and we'll see you guys on Thursday.
My thoughts have never been clearer. I see what you're doing to me now. They lie, they steal, they fool us.